Live tonight on American Zombie. Like, say what's up to everybody. Link pinned to the top of the chat. Good conversation tonight. Jailhouse Max, a good topic. Finally able to tune in. Cool, man. Yeah, long days, brother. Yeah, I remember you said you were putting it in, bro. 7 days, 70, 80 hours a week, bro. That is, yeah. Yeah, I've been keeping the stream steady, man. Trying to keep them going. The simulation theory of existence. And when that is thought about, it gets really deep. It gets really deep because we all know the whole Matrix movie gives us an insight into that simulation thought. But even when you think of the afterlife, any type of thought of life continuing in some way shows that this life here, it really strengthens that simulation thought to say, okay, simulation theory is close to what religions are also saying. Let me just see what they, they always try to throw in. We already know how the words change. But the reality itself, we know simulation theory would bring into, you know how you know somebody's open-minded and not trying to cling on to some materialistic thing here is if they say that evolution still exists, even though it's a simulation theory, that's a pretty good sign to say, yeah, they're not really, they're trying to hold on to one thing without letting go to reach the other thing. And simulation theory of existence, it just opens up a whole new look at existence itself to say, yeah, this will continue, but as in the Matrix type of thing, when they wake up on the chair after coming out of the Matrix or get pulled out of the pod, what if after a person passes from that point, where do they go? Do they wake up in another chair? So that's kind of a thought that I've had. Like, do they wake up in another chair? Do we continually wake up somehow like that? Because that makes existence like wondrous, wonderful. Like you wonder a lot about it, saying, wow, look at that. Now it doesn't seem that bad. It's not scary. You know, we already see how religions try to scare people. And in some sense, if we would see the good, more good come of it than not, we'd feel a little better about that. But I think deep down inside, we don't see that happening. We see that the goodness comes from something within us, the action. But the simulation hypothesis, I mean, this is, when you think about it, it's really deep. It gets you thinking to, when you think even in that direction, behavior and action can change to say, now I'm interacting with something that's fascinating as opposed to something that's boring, mundane, choreful, something that doesn't seem wonderful, that seems regular. When existence is not regular, it's magical, it's amazing, spectacular. This is what existence is. But there are entertainment strategies that are made to try to diminish that magical factor to existence and say, no, look over here, which there are some forms of entertainment that are just amazing, just unbelievable. Like, I mean, it makes existing right now beautiful because it enhances it. Is it an electronic drug? Who knows, whatever. But the fact is, it is something that when you look at it, you say, wow, this is something that I feel is good in existence. But what is the purpose? What is the purpose of it? Like going forward, is it purpose to enjoy the moment, which makes sense? Or going forward, is it something, do we ever grasp the concept as we move forward into time to that point when we change physical form from this existence? So that's another thing too. It's like Is the caterpillar knowledgeable that it will change into the butterfly? Like, what when if there's a simulation, and even if it's not a simulation, when we pass forth into the next, would that be kind of like the cocoon that turns the caterpillar into the butterfly? Would that be something like that? And that's a serious thought. Divine, good to see you. Definitely. Yeah, this is a thought that it I ponder it on many occasions because it matters. Where am I going? Anytime it can happen. Not to say that it's something that a person should be obsessed with, but I would at least be concerned because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's like that saying, I'm on my way. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm on my way. And we're all in that situation. We're not really sure where that place is. I mean, we want to know where it is. And some of us, it's okay. I'm not saying that people shouldn't have uh, that thought to say, well, this is what I believe it is, or this is what I think it is. Or even if they go as far as to imply that they know for sure 100%, which we know that's not really possible, um, that's okay too. Because it's not existence is not about trying to change what somebody else thinks. I think it's about figuring out, just trying to, one, experience what this is, and in that experience figure it out. Like, figure out what I'm experiencing it, and what is it that I am experiencing. I'm experiencing something that changes, that's interacting with other things, and knowing that is this the cocoon? That's the other thing too, because sometimes I would think, okay, in the butterfly analogy, the caterpillar butterfly analogy, we might think death is the cocoon. But this, that's amazing. This could be the cocoon, or the cocoon could have been the fetus stage. It could have been the growth that we had in the womb after the spark of conception, the growth in the womb, the cocooning. But then you wonder, where were we before that? We were basically in two different places. I would think it's part of us would be in the egg, the physical part, and then the other part would be one in many, many millions of spermatozoa. And that, when you look at just that alone, to say, holy smoke, so that one particular part of the male has to match and be accepted by her egg to create the spark of conception, to grow for 7 to 9 months, depending on the incubation time of the pregnancy, to to uh, to birth the human. And now that human is becoming more conscious. We can tell, like, when we were, some of us has memories that can go back to 3 years old, some maybe two, but most people can remember when they were 4 or 5 in kindergarten and preschool and in elementary school, of course. Not everything, but they can remember some moments. So it shows how we grow and we start to experience the world. Some people might experience it at a faster rate. Maybe they can assimilate, maybe they can discern things a little quicker. Who knows why? That would take a lot of study, but it's just like you see certain animals when they're born. Some run, get up and stand quicker than others. On average, they're pretty similar, but there are differences. If, when they get into the minute details, to say, okay, why is this? Why is that? Jailhouse Maxer says, we're all inside a bus heading toward a cliff, but we're arguing where we're sitting. All this war and politics. Yeah, man. I was talking with somebody and he told me that cliff has a name. It's actually called Seneca Cliff from an ancient Roman or Greek philosopher that was saying that how to build up something, to build up wealth is it's a journey. But the downfall, so he was saying the buildup it's time consuming. The downfall is rapid. So it's like that sitting on that bus going forward, man. People are arguing where they're sitting. The bus, when I look at the whole politic thing, it is ridiculous. The Elon Musk type stuff, the zombies are on the volume's on 10. The fact that nobody can just see through that. And now, like that song again, True Colors, come shining through. Come shining through. I wonder about the simulation thing, especially with the Matrix movie talking about 1999 when it was released being like the pinnacle of technology. Really makes me wonder because we did have our golden age of the internet, which I would say was around 2004 to like 2014. Those 10 years were like if I had to pick a 10-year period for the golden age, cable modem, of course, made things quicker, which enabled the social media sites, MySpace, Facebook, and so on. I mean, just started to, once it hit 2014, I think that's when the mobile started really changing things at an exponential speed. And now we went into a whole new type of thing. Red Blur, good to see you. Always a pleasure, bro. Yeah, this is a real serious thought, the simulation thing, because now it really expands it into a supernatural type of thing, but in a realistic way where people don't think it's some doesn't feel like the crazy metaphysical Miss Cleo type of thing. It feels more like, wow. So if we're in a simulation, if it's kind of a simulation, if it seems that we're going somewhere where we don't know. What is the cocoon? Like the cocoon for the caterpillar to make the butterfly. Is this the cocoon period? Was the fetal period growing in the womb the cocoon period, or was both combined? The fetus period that we went through to grow into the human that was birthed, and then this whole lifetime, could that be some type of cocooning, the way the caterpillar metamorphosis goes through a metamorphosis while it's cocooning, which turns into like the pupa for the fully formed adult butterfly or moth, whatever it's transforming into. And the pre-programming of that, when you think of just the pre-programming that is already in there, that's to think that that happens by chance is just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that a caterpillar, I mean, you wonder, it's like, wait a minute, this thing is going to form into a liquid to create like like an albino pupa that will eventually gain color as it starts to emerge, or even before it emerges, as it starts to mature, or like just like a fruit or a vegetable ripens. And now it comes out not just a different life form, but a different life form that can fly. So it's like going from a car or a bus to an airplane. I mean, that's like just freaking. And the craziest thing, when somebody just thinks about that, the transformation of a caterpillar to a moth or a butterfly, it just totally, just if somebody's thinking, they'd be like, yeah, you got to be crazy to tell me that this, how do you even begin to try to lie your way out of saying that this was happening by chance over millions and billions of years, which if you do the math, the caterpillar to the moth, caterpillar butterfly route, it's just, I mean, there's so many factors in it. It's like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me to even come up with the chance. It's like somebody would see a spoon and know that that couldn't be made by chance. But yet they'll see something like a butterfly and thinks that that happened by chance. That just, it just, the common sense there, the disparity is just ridiculous. And that's something I think that needs to be taken into consideration, because with the psychological um positioning to say, let's see where we're at in having a conversation about certain things, that assessment is extremely important, because you don't want to be having a conversation with somebody for 5 or 10 minutes and then realize, man, this, it's better off just keeping it to hi bye, because all it's going to do is drain you. If it's either going to build you or drain you, there's no standing still. There's no level ground. You're either going to gain something from it, or it's going to be like, man, I didn't need to even talk to that person. Also on mass transit, I notice people they just want to get to where they're going. They just want to get to where they're going. But the simulation theory, as they put forth on Google and stuff like that, they're saying that type of a computer simulation. In some sense, we know the matrix type. We also have the philosophy of Plato, where the cave, Plato's cave, matrix, science fiction, uh, and modern physics, suggesting that statistical likelihood and potential computational limits, like the speed of light, could hint at our digital existence. It could hint that something is very, very odd. And I think people don't need PhDs or master degrees or bachelor's or even an associate's degree to really figure some of this out, because a lot of it is theoretical speculation from people who really don't know what's going on. They just know what they've been taught to say to get their paycheck. And that's why we're in what I would call like an epidemic of uh, of ignorance, because of the following and not thinking, because people are afraid to say, wait a second, the evidence is pointing towards something else. Can we explore that? It's not, can we explore that? Um, it really comes to, for the sake of progress, you have to explore it with an open mind. Because if not, it's stagnation disguised as protests. And that's why things feel like they stink, because they've been stagnated but the one thing is, if it's stagnated and okay, but it's stagnated under the disguise of progress. So you look under the mat of progress and you say, wait a second, what's that smell? Oh, it's the stagnation, because this was never progress to begin with. It was an illusion. It was the disguise. And then going through all of this right now in the physical world, we start to say, well, wait a second, what is this physical world? Is this something that I am being streamed to? Is this my cocoon experience? It gets pretty deep when we look into existence like that, because now we can think. There's no judgment. There's no oh, they said this. It's who's they? I mean, religion, we can see, okay, fine, somebody wants to be religious, great. But let's think, can we think without it? And that's another test to see if a person, it's like, hey, can you take off the religious coat, put it on the hanger, and let's talk without that for a second. Let's explore reality for real. Let's look at it for real. Let's unhook the chain from around our neck that was put on there, and that chain holds us to a doghouse called belief. If we can take that off, now we can go beyond belief and we can see what reality might actually be, or what it is, and then it changes. Mr. X, good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, MD. Good to see you. I just tuned in, but I like what I'm hearing, and If I can help out in any other way, that, because as somebody who does have some religious beliefs, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions if you have them, to help out the stream here.
Sure, sure. What do you think about the simulation theory being like, even if somebody is going like to the afterlife or into some other form of existence, then that kind of says right now, in a way, this is like a simulation, but it's a physical simulation. It's like it kind of makes you wonder, right? Like, wouldn't it show the fact that we're going somewhere else shows that the physical is just like is it's a part of that transitioning phase, like a caterpillar turns into the butterfly. So I was saying, is this our caterpillar phase? Is it our cocooning phase to get turned into, the butterfly or the next form? Like, in like looking at it metaphorically, or like in a comparison to what we see on Earth.
Sure. No, that's a definitely well way to put it. But how I believe, based on what I believe, what's been revealed to me, and how it was revealed to me, let's just say through dreams, through thoughts. Um, I believe that information was inputted to me. Now, do I know all the details? No. But what I believe is that when we were born, we came into existence in the non-physical. That's when we were born. A long, long time ago, maybe thousands and thousands of years ago, we came into existence. But we came into existence on a non-physical, immaterial beings. We're spirits. And at some point, our number got called, and it was time to come to Earth. And that was not a choice. But because the Creator's fair, and people would ask, well, why did some people get born into such a good life versus other people who got born into such a terrible life? Great question. I believe we played a role in that when we were spirits, for a multitude of reasons. Coming to this earth, and deciding, what kind of lifestyle we were going to have, the challenges. Let's just say some people thought they might be up for the challenge, or they wanted to be close to the creator, so they didn't want to fall in love with this earth or this existence. They wanted this existence to, in a way, to be miserable, so that they would always come back to where they came from. And other people chose an easier path. uh, but it's a temporary physical existence. That's not debatable, because we all can agree on that, that it is a temporary existence here in the physical realm. We're born and we die at a certain point. But I think it's here to change us a little bit. We're not going to be, for those that return back to where we came from, we're not going to be the same spiritual being that we were before we got here. Like, we were sort of on the outside looking in, and we didn't realize how hard life could be here in the physical until we actually had to experience it. And when we go back, we'll be more well grounded. It's like we won't know what pleasure is without experiencing suffering. Um, we won't know what truly good is without experiencing evil. So it's a temporary learning existence for when we go back, for some of us when we go back to the where we came from. That's how I view things. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good. I appreciate it. We are talking about also the caterpillar metamorphosizing into the moth or the butterfly,
Hmm.
and just thinking about that, the caterpillar itself, and then turning into the pupa, and then being, going from a walking um, insect to a
Hmm.
flying. I mean,
Yes.
it just, when you look at that transformation alone,
Hmm.
the amount of time, I mean, it's just, there's no way, like, period. Also, when you look at the systems in it, circulatory organs and stuff, for that to happen by chance, much less
Absolutely.
yeah, it's just, I mean, that, when you look at the caterpillar's transformation into a flying moth or butterfly, it just, it's, it's mind-boggling to think someone would think that happened by chance.
Well, can I mention something that, as a believer in a creator, I think nature, the creator created nature. One part of it was to teach us. and to teach us certain things, us humans, because it all centers around us. We're the main players in this existence as the human. And I think nature is there to teach us something. That yeah, we walked on the land. The caterpillar walked on his legs and then came out of went back into the cocoon and came out a flying, almost like you could say, angelic being. The transformation. So there's things in nature that can teach us about our existence because it comes from the creator.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely it shows us how complex things are, but yet how simple they are. Simply complex. It's just amazing.
Sure, sure. Yeah, there's no way. I mean, how does that evolve? Come on. And plus, it's you ask an evolutionist how it evolved, he doesn't have a straight answer. He's just going to say millions of years. That's not an answer. And it's certainly not scientific. That's your belief. That's your religion, millions of years. That is not scientific in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of, when you really look at it, if it was scientific, it would have a little bit of a basis there to say, look, uh, let's do it in this fashion. But science leads back to a non-physical and a physical, kind of
Yes.
like a joining. I mean, we see it lightly with stuff that controls things that aren't visible, radio waves, infrared beams, and certain things like that. And you wonder, you say, is that in the physical world? The
Hmm.
shadow, like we talked about, the absence of light is creating something that is not fully understood. They talk about the speed of light, but what about the speed of darkness? Many things they don't like us to explore are thrown into the realm of fringe science or pseudo or quackery and stuff like that. But meanwhile, we see that a lot of those fringe sciences are where discoveries are made, where
Yes.
progress. Yeah.
I mean, Einstein's theory of relativity, when he first came out with his paperwork, the professor, the academia at that time, at the beginning, they all rejected it. They considered that pseudoscience,
Wow.
the theory of relativity. Yeah. I can't remember the exact person, but it was one of I think an Austrian professor who recognized his genius and went and then published his material. But
Hmm.
before it was rejected, it was widely rejected, the theory of the relativity of time. Yeah.
Yeah. Jailhouse Maxwell says engineering comes from nature. The aerodynamics of a plane comes from birds.
I agree.
Mr. Super Sidewinder says millions of years. You're right, man. Velcro can. Yeah, man. It
I like the
really.
way you're approaching it, though, MD. I think you're doing a great job. I like the aspect you're taking of it with nature, because I think that we can learn a lot from nature. We definitely can learn a lot about our existence from nature.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah. Looking at just what we see around us, it really lets us see that the world is supernatural. I
Yes.
mean, just the relationships, even if it's not symbiotic, there's some parasitic ones where you say to yourself, how does how does the parasitic wasp inject its eggs or its larvae, well, eggs that turn into larvae, into a caterpillar, and then this is the crazy part, that the larvae eat around the vital organs. So that right there, how does the larva, because they'll say, oh, well, that happened by chance, trial and error. And then the ones that didn't eat the organs, those survived. So they eventually, the ones that didn't eat the organs survived more until that's how it happened. That's how
Mm,
they figured out, or that's why they don't eat the organs. It's just, it's not a knowing, it's by chance,
yeah,
which doesn't make sense. It's
it's
like, wait a
amazing.
second,
Yeah.
how does that, how does the larva know not to eat the vital organs to keep the caterpillar alive long enough
Hmm.
so it can grow out of it?
It's like the deeper you get, the more complex things get. It gets
Yeah.
less simple. It gets more complex. We'd say the larvae, the larvae.
Yeah, the larvae. I mean, it even protects it. Like they'll
Yeah,
cocoon. I mean, it's some invasion to the body snatchers on another level.
right.
When you look at the parasitic wasp that that stings, that it lays its eggs inside of a type of caterpillar, green caterpillar, that the larvae grow in there and eventually cocoon. And I think when they cocoon, there's one type that the larvae come out of the caterpillar and spin little cocoons on the leaf, and the caterpillar now, after they've eaten parts of its inside, is still alive guarding them when they're in their cocoons
Hmm.
on the leaf. I mean, how does this even, like, when you look at that behavior, that type of behavior, and saying, wait a second, you know, how does that even form to be? Christopher, good to see you. Does DNA have passed down memories and actions? And there are some studies that definitely show that.
Yeah, I
Too
believe it
many-
does. I
Yeah.
believe that.
What's that?
And I believe it does. I think DNA can hold some memories from our ancestors. I definitely believe that.
Hmm. And if somebody with a scientific degree might say, well, that's just an opinion, but we can also go deeper and see that it's more than an opinion.
Hmm.
We can have genetic memory through trauma, through certain things that may have imprinted itself. Like they did that with the mice, where they shocked the great grandparents with electroshocks every time it smelt the cherry blossom smell, and they noticed that I think the grandkids and the great grandkids showed a much higher like what was it, like a sensory part of the nose where it can sense smell. It showed a much larger increase in the area that can detect cherry blossom smells. So showing that without even uh knowing about that, it'll 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 still have it in the genetics to know that, okay, for the future generations we're going to need this so it doesn't get shocked. I mean, even though the grandkids never got shocked before.
Mm.
So these genetic studies, it really
I
important, because
agree. I agree.
yeah. And it, to do it, see, the thing that I noticed, to do it in a purely scientific state, that's the hard part, because you always have one of the evolutionists coming out saying, like, wow, evolution, it's you know it really is amazing the way it created the parasitic wasp that you know that preys on the caterpillar. And it's like, you wonder, you say, wow, are you really thinking? It's like, do you see? That's like finding it's like finding a Ferrari in the desert and thinks that it just happened to manifest there over billions of years. It just
Yeah.
totally ridiculous.
And it would be easier for that to happen than the caterpillar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
less parts.
Oh yeah. Anything. Yeah. It's easier to see something like that, a spoon, a bicycle form, than something living.
Hmm.
Something that living, that needs to procreate, that needs certain environments too. So that's the other thing too. So something that needs a specific environment, you're telling me that's going to develop quicker than something that doesn't need a specific environment, or at least has like a wide uh,
Hmm.
range that it can fluctuate, that it can be in. You
And
know,
it all has to come together at a short period of time, or almost instantaneously, a living
yeah,
organism. It can't just develop over years.
yeah. And then when it comes together, it has sometimes the environment has to change.
Right.
So it needs, especially in the chemistry part that they tried to say, oh, these chemicals came together. And it's like, oh, well, if that came together to go to the next step, the environment would have to change. I mean, the story is so ridiculous that it boggles, like it just defies logic.
Well, they also claim that abiogenesis, life from non-life, is a scientific fact, which it's not. That's a blatant lie right there. There's never observed life coming from non-life. That has not been scientifically proven, but they'll claim it's a fact.
It's true. And they're having videos on that too. I noticed people are coming out with stuff trying to bring the abiogenesis lie together, saying that chemicals are starting to attract each other. Oh wow, is this really its own? Existence is the great it is. It does have that both way, man. If this really you, man, good to see you, brother. And hop on, please, if it is you. Please, we have the link pinned to the top of the chat. But I can see the both sides of, because sometimes it's kind of life can teeter totter. It really can teeter totter. And I think it comes from not really, like, because it comes from not going forward. Part of it,
Hmm.
not all of it, but a part of it could come from not going forward far, fast, deep enough into the the existence of what we're experiencing, to say, hey, we're swimming through the existence, the time
Yes.
of existence. So
Yeah.
to kind of try to be conscious of that, I mean, that's an amazing thing, to say, wow, I'm swimming through time,
Hmm.
and it's kind of like I'm really treading water, and time is flowing past me like the current, because if I try to swim faster, we know we can't really speed up time. So that's an amazing thing too, to say, wow, I'm in a current of something that's living, that's flowing past me, and if I swim faster toward it, it doesn't affect it. But we do know that there are things like we talked about, walking on the beach and stuff, and turning around and seeing that, oh, you walked much further than you thought you walked. So where were we during that moment of where time didn't exist, or where we felt like it didn't exist? So it lets us know that it can be manipulated, it can be compressed, it can be extended, it can be also manipulated with substances. We
Yeah.
see that clearly. People that drink, that use other substances to alter their perception of reality. Also, it alters, because time is a part of reality. It alters that. It's fascinating to study a lot of these things, because people don't people don't want to think about it. They would rather be distracted, and then at the last moment they're going into the next, never having any bit of preparation.
Hmm.
So it really thank you, it's over, bro. Thank you, brother. God bless, bro. This is where it's at, bro. Yeah, man. Retro. What up? And Ryan, oh man.
But see, the questions you're asking, MD, I think that's where religion comes into play as part of the answer to those questions. What are we here for? What is the purpose of our existence? And I'm
Yes.
not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying they're providing an answer for that.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
that's where it comes. Because either you slice it, even if you're not religious, you're still going to have that question going through your head at some point. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
What is the
It's
purpose of
yeah,
this?
exactly. It's like, what is this? Amazed, good to see you, bro. I think it really is. It's over, man. I think it is. Um, yeah, it really has me wondering because when yeah, preparing for the next and living in the now. That is so important because we have to remember as we prepare, or even if it's just an acknowledgement, a current acknowledgement that the next is something that will happen, but also how important it is to live in the now, to appreciate the now, to say, "Wow, I'm swimming, I'm rowing." It really gives thought to that song, "Row the boat, row your boat merrily down the stream." No, gently down the stream, right? So it's row your boat gently down the stream merrily, because life is just a dream. So be happy with it. Yeah. Yeah. And regardless, see, the amazing thing is, it's like time just keeps flowing. I mean,
Yep.
it's just amazing. It keeps flowing. And the thing is, where does time flow from? That's another thing. So I noticed I don't hear anybody speaking about topics like that. Like, is there a source where time is flowing back from to create what we would call the future that is flowing back into this present moment? And we're like caught in, I guess this is why they would also say certain timelines. So maybe there's a person 1 minute behind me. So what I'm doing right now is creating the past or the present for that person that's a minute behind me, and then that person is creating the present for the person 1 minute behind them. But it goes in infinite amounts of time, so not just a minute and then a minute behind, but 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 1 second, a microsecond. There's so much to think about. There's so much to think about. I don't know if this is that zombie guy again. CD, good to see you, man. Yeah, we're all waiting. Waiting. One of my friends, she says, we're all just walking each other home. And it's so true. And it does get faster, man. It really does. It really, really does. All right, I'll take the chance. Let me see.
One coming up.
Uh yeah, somebody zombies. All right, zombies, who are you? Wait, were you on
Yeah,
before saying you
I
know a lot
came on
about?
the other day and or whatever. I don't do anything. I'm legit.
No, I know. You seem cool, but so do you have anything to add into this conversation about the simulation theory of existence?
Well, I would say if I believed in flat Earth, I believe that it was like because we're in a computer simulation, and
Okay,
they'd be like,
we can't really have those type of conversations. Like it's like where it's not saying we're saying that we don't adhere to like we just this is basically just the simulation theory of existence. But I appreciate you uh chiming in.
We're the flat Earth computer model.
Yeah, I think it's kind of
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Kind of
tough
funny.
one, man. Yeah. And he seems like a nice guy. It just yeah, I mean, we have good conversations, just you and I. And there are some times where people can add into it, but it's really and I understand they want to talk to people about certain subjects, but we ourselves even got to be careful
Hmm.
that, yeah, because Jaws Max is hilarious. Yeah, just yeah, it the whole existence thought. I mean, that's an amazing thing to say, wow, what is this thing called existence? What am I doing here? It cannot just be just this. It has to be more than this.
Of course. I don't
Yeah,
think we'd
you
even ask the question if it wasn't. The fact that we
right?
even think that there has to be more means there is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the ridiculousness of the everyday routine.
Hmm.
The normal person is like, no, wait a second. It's like, is it because I'm not thinking enough? Because if somebody really thinks and somebody really, I think part of the lesson of those seven deadly sins, because you see some people that are not apathetic, they won't let laziness get to them, and they will constantly work to get out of the situation that they may have been born into. And then they have these success stories. Um, or the ones that just that take it basically.
Well, see, the thing is, you're asking a lot of questions that involved when we talk about existence and the other side. We're kind of leaving science and we're getting into the supernatural. And I think that's where things can get a little cloudy because there's only so far logic and reason can take you. Once you start hitting the supernatural and miracles, by definition, they defy what's logical and rational by definition. So applying logic and reason may not be of help. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just has to be evidence based. See, I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, especially some of the philosophers of our time, is they try to apply logic and reason to this existence, and it just doesn't work. They'll come up with different theories and they'll publish them, and some people will accept them, but I don't know that they ever work. There's always holes in the theory. Um, but that's why I think at the end, no matter which position you take, it's a faith-based position. Whether you believe in naturalism or you believe in the afterlife or you believe in the supernatural, it's all faith-based. Either way you slice it. If you think this whole existence is naturalism and created by natural processes, that's a faith-based decision. You can't prove that. So this is where I believe the reason I explain my reasoning is based on what I believe was revealed to me. I didn't. It's not something I've tried to figure out on my own. No, I believe it's something that was given to me. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
our existence, why we're here, is a philosophical question, not a scientific question.
It's something definitely to be pondered. I'm shocked at
It
how
is.
many people don't want to ponder it. It makes me see that as far as the mind, or if we were to be categorized into groups of thought, there's not many of us with the thought to even to decide to put some of our mind power into this direction, because
Right.
people could, but they just don't care. And I can understand that because of the speculation of looking back of when I didn't care. Oh wow. CD, you did notice, man. That's deep, bro. I did change it a little bit. Wow, you were very yeah, you noticed, man. You noticed. I did. I adjusted it a little to make it. I thought it looked a little better, than the one previously, but thanks for noticing, man. Wow. Azroon kind of extreme on supernatural.
Mm.
Yeah. And good to see Azroon. Yeah, he was here earlier. Yeah,
Oh, he
man.
was.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I adjusted the parameters. Yeah, the simulation theory, man, it really makes you wonder, because if we look at it logically and we're going forward into, say, somebody that is religious and they say, well, they're going to another place, whether it's heaven or something like that. Well, once they're there, it's like, okay, what does that say this was? This kind of seems like it was a physical simulation, that we're not saying it's totally fake or anything. We're just saying, what if existence itself is a simulation? Because if we go to that other place And let's just say it's not forever, because a lot of religions will say, okay, that's it. That's the final destination. It's forever, which is
Hmm.
kind of a party pooper. It's kind of like, again, stagnation, saying, why would it end? Why would I don't think there's anything I can think of that I would like to do forever that wouldn't get boring or wouldn't get to where it's like, you know what, could I have different things that I could do? Why would I want to just choose one thing? I think we see from the existence we have right now that choosing one thing is definitely not the right choice, because we see how quickly we'd say, yeah, I used to like that, but it's like I kind of do like a change.
Well,
Some things maybe okay, like somebody might say an argument to play the other side. Okay, how about water? That's like, all right, you got a good point there. Water is
well,
something that it's not about liking, but we need it, but it does not need to change.
but
It can.
all but all we know is existence, though. That's the thing. That's all we really know. We don't know what it's like to not exist. You know what I mean?
The only thing that I can say gives us even a glimpse into what non-existence might be is is dreams, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Right.
what could be anything that could point us toward what non-existence might feel like. And an intense dream. I've gotten out of intense dreams better than any movie I've ever seen.
Sure.
And it makes you wonder. I've heard Alan Watt used to say something about that with the
Hmm.
harp. He's like, what are you going to do? Play harps? And he goes, there is a significance to that. I don't know. I forgot what it was, but
Well, I think that's a deception, though. I don't think we should view, if there is a heaven, the way they've portrayed it with harps and clouds and no, I think that's just part of a deception. I don't think it's anything like that. It would probably be more real than this earth, if anything. I don't believe it's what they've depicted. That's just a fraud, basically. You
but looking a bit deeper into that, right?
know?
Why would somebody get the notions that it would have clouds and harps? Like, could that come from somebody have being brought up maybe onto a ship? Because just flying in a plane, seeing the clouds and the sky above the cloud line seems very heavenly like.
Sure. No, I'd definitely be up to that idea. Yeah, somebody may have been abducted. What do they call these? I don't believe in aliens from other planets, but necessarily other beings with ships that could fly, maybe
Hmm.
centuries ago. Yeah, definitely, I could see something like that. Hmm.
And then maybe eventually the concept of heaven being clouds and stuff like that, instead of something that is more dimensional.
Right.
Because, when we look at it now and it's like, yeah, why wouldn't it be more dimensional?
Hmm. I mean, when Cypher went into the Matrix, he thought, oh, that was a better life, being in the Matrix. He said ignorance is bliss. He was said, I know the steak is fake, but it tastes real, and I cut it like it's real, and it's good enough for me. So,
It shows how dangerous a person can be.
hmm.
Like the laws of stupidity, when you think about that cipher, the fact that he couldn't think enough to say, hey, you can't go back in the matrix, they're going to end you. Or, it's like, how could you even think that they wouldn't end you? Like, to think that the agents are going to keep their word, make the smart person has to see that this guy's in a dangerous form of mind control, because he's going to
Right.
betray everybody. And that detection, I think we underestimate how important that detection is.
Yes.
Extremely important. I told a friend today, I said the loss of an illusion, like we were talking about on the show the other day, being more important than gaining knowledge. And I was like, okay, here's an example. If you're at war, or say even if it's a marketing war or something like that, not a physically war where people would die. Say it's a campaign war or something like that. What would you rather? What would be more important? To know what the enemy's plan is, or to find out who in your camp is a traitor?
Right. Exactly.
So of course it would be, for me, I would say, yeah, finding out who's the traitor is much more important than the enemy's plans. We can speculate on the enemy's plans and stuff, knowing where it's, if we're safe to where they can't, the enemy won't know our plans, or won't know that we're speculating on his plans. The fact that he doesn't know about us is more important. I mean, that's a pretty deep question when I think about it.
I'd agree. Yeah. You want to know who the traders are for sure. Because that'll end you for sure. That'll end you.
Yeah, kind of. When I think about it, it's just like, man, because that saying, losing an illusion makes you smarter than gaining a truth. And there's many like examples, because that's the thing, to know the sayings and then look for examples, because now it sinks in more. It's remembered easier. When somebody wants to know something, I noticed when a person can tell them, that moment of learning that sticks with them longer than any other form of learning. So when you sit down to learn something, it can be assimilated. You can comprehend it. Sometimes it takes a few lessons, sometimes it takes a lot.
Yeah.
But when you want to learn it and somebody shows it to you, you pick it up much quicker. I mean, there's no remembering it. You just know it forever now.
You repeat it, until you finally get it. But you have to have the desire to learn it.
Or it's like something like, let me see what's an example of it. Like, I want to use a song to say, you want to know the lyrics to a song. You listen to it, and then you stop, you back it up, you listen to it. Oh, okay. And you learn it.
Mm-hmm.
You learn it, and then you never really forget it after that. You can forget it. There's definitely ways, but it's kind of like an easy way of learning. It's not like, okay, we're gonna learn these lyrics, because it came from a not we're gonna learn these lyrics point. It came from, I want to learn these lyrics. Like, what did he say? What did she say in that song?
Mm-hmm.
So that inquisitive curiosity, like, I think it allows sometimes a branding that sticks with the person when they learn it at that moment, as opposed to, it can also be stuck in from learning it formally, but that getting it when you need it, like it's like having a hunger that gets satisfied, and it gets satisfied a lot better than when you're eating when you're not really hungry. Because if you're eating when you're not really hungry, somehow the food, I'm not saying that it's not enjoyed or not appreciated, but there's something about food tasting better when you're hungry.
Yeah.
So the knowledge, maybe there's something about the knowledge being assimilated more deeply, because it's perceived at that moment to be uh like the hungry stomach. It's being perceived like that, like the hungry mind. So now it's assimilating it a lot better, because the mind is hungry, Just the way they say sometimes when you want to absorb something in the stomach, they say eat it on an empty stomach or take it on an empty stomach so it can be assimilated quicker.
Hmm.
So that seems to be would hold true for the mind.
I would agree. I could definitely see the parallels.
Right? Yeah. So the parallels are, when your mind is hungry, just like when your stomach is hungry, it's going to absorb it better, quicker, faster. It's going to get more nutrients from it. It's going to learn more from it. And this is something that I'm surprised, and I would think that they know it, but it's to say, yeah, because learning, if when they try to force learning on people without being hungry for it, it's like feeding somebody when they're not hungry,
Yeah.
and it actually causes problems. We know eating when you're not hungry causes problems. The only way for the stomach and stuff for heal is when you don't eat, is when you have those hungry moments, and now the stomach starts feeding on what's in there, starts pushing stuff through the intestines. You start cleansing. Even if
Hmm.
you got to wait a little long to the next meal, that's a good thing. So the
It is.
mind, if we look at it in that way, learning what we want to know, that's the way to really know. Like, and when we want to learn it. This is why also why people, I think, absorb these conspiracy theories so much more, because people are, in a way, they may not know it, but with, like, in a way, we're starving for knowledge. And the
Yes.
crazy thing is that we usually don't know it. We think it's something else, but that itch, that, saying, wait a second, purpose, and also remembering to keep it on it, that we don't have a lot of time. Time is limited. Time is the most precious commodity. Well, honestly, health is the most precious commodity, because you can have all the time in the world. If you need the health to really enjoy it. Um, and health, that is really, you ask somebody, hey, would you rather live like 1 year healthy or 10 years unhealthy? I would pick the 1 year healthy, because I mean, when you look, from when you're in certain days and you're not feeling too well, what's the sense of being alive?
No, it's very miserable. I remember being in the hospital. And it's like, geez, this is not the way I
Right.
want to go.
So it's
Suffering.
like you'd rather be healthy and say, okay, I'll be healthy, and then you drop. Fine, okay, even if it's a minute, whatever, the suffering, or maybe not suffering, but you're fading, and then you're going to go into, now at that point when you fade, now it gets real. Now it gets, okay, where are you going? Where's, all these people that talk about, the hovering and seeing, stuff like that. It's okay, fine, great. We don't know if that's true. Maybe it is, whatever, but where do you go after that? Where is that next? And that, at that point, I don't think that's the point to really start thinking about it, because kind of late. But a lot of people, if they happen to get that experience and they think it's a near death or out of body experience, sometimes it changes them. Sometimes there is a big grift train for that stuff too. That's the messed up thing. There's definitely a big grift train, where people, we saw it with the Miss Cleo and stuff like that. I mean, what she get, that organization, I think, got over 200 million. Yeah.
Who got 200 million? I'm sorry, I missed that one.
The Miss Cleo organization.
Oh, yeah, that organization. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Showing how much people want to know about the metaphysical. I mean,
Yes.
they'll believe in it. They don't care. They don't
Hmm.
care. They're like, please, just it's it really makes me wonder, for that to flourish like that. I think she only got like 1 million or 2 million. Whoever pushed those infomercials, that was the genius behind the marketing.
Oh, yeah. And they have, you can apply for those jobs as a psychic reader. If you
Oh yeah.
talk good or you talk a good game, they'll hire you. You don't have
Hmm.
to actually be
Oh,
psychic.
oh yeah. I mean, and see, the thing is, though, it kind of, it's messed up because if you flood with charlatans, it discredits the real people
Yes.
that have a connection, that have
Yes.
some type of sight. They said like in the Isles off of England and in Ireland, they would call it the sight. Like you would know when somebody was going to pass. Like somebody might sit in a chair and get a vision and say, "Oh, grandma," or something. Something might happen soon, or and they called it the sight. So these real psychic things, these powers that we have to have a validity, like a way to validate them, to say, okay, now as we're trying to do that, they throw in all of the fake psychics, the Miss Cleo and all this stuff like that, and then people take it. I mean, the charlatans come like constantly
Right.
because it preys on a person when they're weak. But the people that really have the skill, that's where um evolution doesn't like to look at that. They'll try to say, I mean, the amount of evidence that they've bent to try to fit the theory is just, it's ridiculous.
Hmm.
Saying, oh, well, psychic abilities could have developed for premonition. For It's always the predator thing. It's like, okay, always some type of uh oh, we had to be careful because we're walking around naked and stuff. It's like, well, how does that even come to be? How does that even come to be when I think about cultures that have clothing, but I guess the Museum of Natural History is something that really pushes that. Like if anybody goes in there, I've taken pictures. It's not if you look at it with a scientific eye, a real scientific eye, you start to see how unscientific it really is. To say, wait a minute, this is like a one big opinion. It's like
Yes.
an opinion, yeah.
And when you expose the frauds of Ernest Haeckel or Piltdown Man and many others, I mean, they don't even want to address it. It shows you it's a joke. It's like you don't even want to address the fraud or at least admit to it. But one guy was saying, no, Haeckel was never a fraud. I said, yeah, it was proven a fraud. He admitted it. But it's
Mhm.
like that tells you all you need to know right there. They're not about truth at all.
Yeah.
At least address it. Say, yeah, that was a fraud, but they won't even do that. That's why I can't receive. Even if I was a non-believer in the supernatural, I still couldn't respect their opinion because they contradict themselves all the time, and they
Yeah.
won't accept real science if it doesn't include their narrative. They won't even explore it. Like when I brought up about the appendix, they didn't want to hear it. Said, you don't even want to look at the research because this was researched and it was scientifically proven. They don't want to hear it because it didn't fit the narrative. You know, it's pseudoscience. Like you haven't even looked into it. It's not pseudoscience. It's been proven, but you don't even want to consider it. It's like you're just as closed-minded as some other people that
So wait, they were still considering the appendix vestigial?
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They said no, 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 that can't be true. They just didn't want to hear it because it did not fit the narrative of evolution. It did not support evolution.
Mhm.
They just did not want to accept that science. They wouldn't even research it. They wouldn't even consider researching it.
Wow. That is just, I tell you, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It really is. When you think about how, when somebody doesn't even want to look at the research and they're claiming to be scientific, that says,
Says a lot right there.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I say, most of the atheists that you see, the atheist shows, they're just anti-Christian is what it comes down to, but they just won't admit it. They won't come out and just say, I just hate Christians. I don't know if there's a God, but I hate Christians. Just say that. At least that'd be the honest answer. You're not even being honest about your position.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of them have been through the trauma. And I think that's why they fell into the arms of the atheistic
Hmm.
mindset.
And I don't deny that there's a lot of trauma that can be had in these churches. There's a lot of hypocrites in these churches. So I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
here to support religious, you know, mainstream religion that we see. I'm not here to support that at all because I think a lot of it is just there for money, and
Hmm.
it's there. They care more about filling their seats and getting donations than anything else. So that's not what the creator really wants. That's not what it's about.
Yep. We know, but Pirate City.
Yeah, that too. That too. Yeah,
A
it's
lot
a
of
joke.
people traumatized, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Especially in Catholicism, which I grew up in. Yeah, it's pretty bad. On the cover-ups and so forth. So yeah, I'm not here to defend any of the religious institutions at all. But that being said, it still doesn't change the fact that this whole existence is order of design. It's like, what's the truth of our existence? We can't let um, these institutions change our opinion based on what we don't like, or what some people may have experienced in the churches, because that still keeps you out of the loop of reality.
Hmm.
You're still not living in reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's people for some reason they just some don't know about reality. Some just know that they're here, but they don't really contemplate reality or existence. They're just here. And when you look at somebody like that, you wonder, like, it's kind of like looking at somebody and thinking of like let's just say the stages of what would it be called? Like the stages of I don't know if existence is the right word, but you look at somebody that's just here and they're just existence. Um, like let's even say like if we equate it to some religious thing like before the fall, I guess they call it. So
Hmm.
before the fall in the garden, before eating um, the fruit. So the fruit, so before the fruit, and you see people that act like like what would be considered somebody before the fruit. They're just unaware, they don't know, they're doing existence, and that's it. They don't care. That's like before the fruit. And then you got people that are aware like after the fruit. So they're saying, holy smokes, this is what we're in. And then in between is people that took a couple of bites
Yeah.
because they took a couple of bites and they're aware and then they fall back to sleep. They go back into before the fruit. So the before the fruit, that's actually a pretty good way to put it when I think about it. Because it's kind of reminds me of like in the time machine when the people that would just pray for the Morlocks, the Eloi that dwelled on the surface, and the Morlocks from underground, they would pull them into the caves and eat them, and that was the time machine. And they tried to definitely they were definitely caping for evolution. I mean, hard. These movies try to stick evolution in there, like, I mean, it's creepy.
Yeah.
But the Eloi, yeah, I mean, people they were showing like in the original, they were saying like the upper class had become the Eloi because they didn't know really how to fend for themselves, whatever. Or I think they were just fruitarians, just would eat fruits and stuff, and then get picked off by the Morlocks. So when you look at people, they're definitely Eloi. You got people that are Eloian. You got other people that's straight before the fruit. So before the fruit, when you look at how they didn't know what good and evil was, they didn't know what being naked was, right?
Hmm.
So that's like you got some people that are very, very maybe not unaware to the point where they don't know what being naked is, but their awareness doesn't go too far past that.
But
Like,
that's still a problem. That's not bliss because you still have to live in reality.
oh yeah,
And
it's not a pro. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's
yeah,
exonerating them from their problems or freeing them from anything like that. I'm saying that you look at that person, and you say it. You wonder. You say, "Wow, that person is going to live this entire existence and not even understand." Or it doesn't even matter if the person understands what they're going into next. But that person most likely doesn't understand, or it's not, that person is not thinking or contemplating about the moment in existence the way we are.
sure.
Yeah, and it's not saying that we're better or anything, nothing like that. It's saying that that's amazing. The fact that we can even contemplate existence on this level and then discern while we look at other people who is contemplating it or who doesn't care or who can't contemplate it, who doesn't, and then the other people who think they're contemplating it but they're really not, because they're
Hmm.
going through the evolutionary model and their whole thing. I've noticed a rise in a lot of those videos where I think they're starting to feel a little bit of pressure from people actually thinking.
Yeah.
'Cause especially with the animal videos, like when people show animals and they're like, really, yeah, so this thing evolved, right?
But I question how many people really believe in the evolutionary process. Like when I go on that other channel, I don't go on there often, but when I do listen to it,
Mhm,
I really have to question. Like I say, I think they're more anti-Christian than they are actual die-hard believers in evolution.
mhm. Yeah.
That's what the gist I get from them.
Mhm,
They really don't, whatever contradicts Christianity or the Bible is they're in favor of it. They could believe in the Jolly Green Monster was our creator. As
mhm,
long as it contradicts the Bible, that they'll accept that position. See, I question how many, like I said, there's people who are anti-Christian who that's why they accept evolution, and there's other people who just don't care, and that's what they were taught in school, so that's all they know, and they don't give it much thought. But those people, when you talk to them and you get them to think, then they'll start questioning it immediately. Say, yeah, you know what, you got a good point.
mhm.
And we've had a few of those on the channel, so I put those in that camp. Because like I say, I don't. The scientists, they're getting paid. The Neil deGrasse Tysons and so forth, they're making a good living off of it. So they're
Mhm.
going to say whatever gives them a nice paycheck. I understand their point of view, but hardcore, diehard believers in evolution, and I don't know that there's that many, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah. I think there are some, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. A lot of them, like that guy that came on, they're kind of just in casers. They'll jump on the fence of agnosticism real quick
yeah.
and try to claim that they don't know. Meanwhile, just a second ago, they were trying to tell me that it happened by chance. And
Because I've presented positions to them and they can't answer. Like I'll say, well, you believe that we all came from nothing. That's not our position. They get it really angry, real offended by that. And it's like, okay, but that's what it entails. You're denying what true atheism, what true evolutionary process is. That it one because the Big Bang, before the Big Bang, science says there was nothing. That's the mainstream opinion right now. That before the Big Bang there was nothing. And they don't want to hear that. It's like, well, wait a minute, that's what your science says, you know? Because they know it's an indefensible position. They can't really explain it or justify it in any naturalistic way. They know it's based on, at that point, it's a belief. And anybody, who really has half a brain would know that that's a belief. And they don't want it. The only reason they say that is because they can't defend it. They're gonna shoot down anything that they know they can't defend. So that's why I question, do they really believe in what they believe? You know? It's like if they want to ask me about creation and a creator, I'll defend it to the end. I won't backtrack and say, well, no, 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 we won't touch that part. No, I'm not. You're not going to hear that from me.
mhm,
You can
yeah,
ask me as much as you want. And
yeah, yeah. And Christianity is just one of many, yeah, many religions, though. Yeah, there's so many, and yeah.
I mean, one question they were debating me or they're debating somebody else. Well, how could a God do these things if it's not logically rational? How could he do that? It's like, well, wait a minute. The creator's mind is what created the laws of logic to begin with. Laws of logic did not exist prior to the creator. It's his mind. Whatever laws he wants to create, he can change at any time. If he decides 1 plus 1 is going to equal 3, he can do that because 1 plus 1 equals 2 was his mind, his creation, not it didn't exist before him. So there's your answer. But of course,
And you're saying from a universe that would be based on different laws, then.
yeah, it's all those laws were a product of his mind. He came up with it on the fly, and if he wants to change them, he can change them because his laws did not exist prior to him coming up with it in his
'Cause,
own
yeah, I
mind.
think a scientist, like a real scientist, would probably ask, like, okay, how
Hmm.
does that work? Like, not saying that, questioning that, you're saying that, okay, you believe in an all powerful deity,
Sure.
but it's saying, how does one, like, because there is a way scientifically to figure it out, like to say, like, the sexagesimal system based on six with the Sumerians, um, they can show how, okay, mathematically, this is how you would use this, as opposed to our system, which is based on 10, right?
Hmm.
So, yeah. So I guess, something to say that, okay, in a universe where it says 1 plus 1 equals 3, how would that work? We don't even think about stuff like that. That
Right.
it's like, what circumstances would allow that? And scientists, that's the craziest thing. They have these think tanks of scientists acting like
Hmm.
they're, so smart, but then we see that they're all evolution zombies. Like the
Right.
fact that they can't even think past that first part says a
Hmm.
lot.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sort of like says how much bias is coming afterwards,
Well,
because
of
just to
course.
not question that is extremely biased. Is to
Yeah.
say, wait, so you're telling me this happened by chance? That nothing that Are you serious?
Yeah. Logical absolutes cannot happen by chance. There has to be some mind outside the human mind to make it
Yeah.
absolute.
Jailhouse Maxer asked, does Mr. X believe in God or the religion?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I just don't consider myself necessarily religious. I'll put it this way. It starts with knowing the creator. That's where step number one happens. Now, how does one go about doing that? You don't. If you want to know the creator, live your life the way you see fit. And if you're meant to know him, you'll know him. If you're not meant to know him, you'll know another creator, that's for sure. Or not a creator, but another being who will imitate the creator. Um, so religion, no, my problem with religion is there's so much hypocrisy. I hate the term religion. I just don't like it because of what it represents. The first thing that comes to mind is these organized religions, which most of them, 99.9% of them, I would have nothing to do with. So
Mhm.
I guess I'll just, to answer the question in a nutshell, I'm a believer in the God. We'll call it the God or call it the creator, but I am a believer in the God more than I
Okay.
am religious. So,
So you believe in God, not the religion. So not the, because Jailhouse Max, yeah, you're right. Religion itself is like a political party. Jake just tried to hop on, but he hopped back off. Maybe
mhm,
he'll hop on in a second. I think it's his connection. But yeah, so basically you're more like saying, okay, so it's spirituality with creation, the creational force, the creator,
mhm,
whichever you look at as that creator or creational force.
right.
um it's just that it doesn't require a religion for you to
No, no,
yeah.
I believe that people, irregardless, your philosophical beliefs
Hmm.
mean zero in this life.
Yeah.
That's what I really believe that it just doesn't matter. What really matters is your moral ethics. That's the number one thing of this existence. Are
Yeah.
you here to do
Yeah.
good or are you here to do evil? That's
Yeah.
what it all comes down to in the
Hmm.
end.
Yeah. So you definitely, yeah.
It sounds simple, but guess what? It is simple.
It is.
We don't have enough time. Our finite brains don't have enough time to solve the answers to the entire universe. It's not going to happen. We're only here for a short period. And what are you going to do in this life? Are you going to do? And I don't claim to be the best person because I'm far from it. But I'm just telling you, like, what I know that's been given to me.
Yeah,
yeah.
Jake, what's up, man? How's everything? Just
LMD Mr. X, how's it going?
Good to see you, Jake.
Yeah, just hanging, man.
Hey, I thought it was an interesting question. I want to jump in and answer myself. I agree with Mr. X is saying. You can't really fully ever know God or a creator because he is. There's no way he's human. You know what I mean? He's definitely something else. And some people say read the Bible, Book of John. John supposedly knew him, and some of the other disciples knew him, and said. So you learn about him from firsthand accounts. If Jesus was really God, and some religions believe he wasn't, but religion is there's actually the church I go to. They say they don't like religion. Religion is like do these rules, follow these rules, and then you're a good person. But according to the Bible, that if you get to know Jesus, you accept him as your savior, then you're saved. You're allowed into heaven. So you try to learn about Jesus through the supposed firsthand accounts of him. So that's one way. But I agree with Mr. X though. I mean, are you here to do good or evil? Good or evil is a concept that's been around forever. Something I've been fascinated with since I was a pretty young kid, man. And I actually have a tattoo about good versus evil tattooed on me. It's like an angel versus demon. It looks pretty badass. And man, good versus evil. I mean, that I think the whole world comes down to that. I don't think it's as black as white as that, because no one is perfect, no one is pure good, and no one is pure evil. I think we have a little bit of both inside of us.
Wow. So yeah, we definitely, everybody definitely has both. That's that battle. Which one will win? The one we feed the most. So we don't feed the negative starts to recede. It starts to stay in a smaller place, like the yin and the yang, where you see.
Thank you, MD. I was going to mention that. Yep, the yin and yang. That's one version of representing good versus evil.
Yeah, and showing that, man, we have that in there. And
and the yin and yang symbol, it's white and black, but both have a black and a white dot inside of them, so they're neither are purely good or purely evil. And guys are always like, I gotta get a black truck or a black car, and I gotta white is represented as good and masculinity, and black is representative of feminine and evil. Just so that we're clear on that.
Wait, you're saying what with the yin and yang colors?
The colors, white represents masculinity and black represents femininity. And that's because female nature was known for centuries as being evil, and masculine nature was known as being the good in the world that creates order. Order and chaos is also represented in the yin and yang.
What culture is saying this? Is that the Japanese or the Chinese yin and yang stuff?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a Japanese culture. That's the yin and yang represents good, evil, masculine, femininity, and order and chaos is what it represents.
All right, let me see. Yin. And
yeah, please fact check me, but I did research that like a long time ago. I don't know, several years ago, and it's something that always stuck out to me.
Okay, yin and yang representation. Okay, it says the yin, the black, signifying feminine, passive, dark, and receptive qualities. So not necessarily bad, but dark. And the because dark has a good to it, and receptive qualities. So being able to receive, like the
feminine is receiving. Yep.
Yeah, and dark receives light. It's like light doesn't receive the darkness. It doesn't seem like it does. It could, but definitely we see like it's the light that the darkness that receives the light, and that's why the darkness dissipates. And then the white of the yang or the light, because it's really light and dark. It's not always black and white. You'll see some that are red and blue, some that are,
I have seen the red and blue ones. Yep.
yeah. So there are. So it's more like different. The black and white is not as accurate. So it's more like a difference of you know, of energy. So positive, negative could be, but I would say, what is really negative if you don't want to say negative. It's in saying negative. It's not saying it in a negative way or a bad connotation. It's saying no. It's a negative is in a
Yeah,
as in
positive, negative energy, like a neutron and electrons, like
yeah,
more like energy. Yeah.
exactly, to say, look, that's a necessary negative. It's not a, and both containing a seed of the other. So, and this is the other thing too, because in the black there's a seed of white. In the white there's a seed of black. It's like
Yep, that's it. They both have a dot of good
yeah,
and evil, or
showing that
positive, negative. Like, yeah, because nothing is purely good or purely evil.
nothing is 100%. Yeah, it's showing even on a black car, shiny car. That shine, you'll see that white shine on it. You'll see that reflection.
Yep.
And you'll see, and the same thing with the light. You'll always have that darker spot, that blank spot. It's amazing when you look at it. The circular symbol.
A white car, part of it will have a shadow.
Yeah, yeah, it has. So yeah, the yin and yang. It's actually
But it does represent masculinity and femininity and good and evil, order and chaos. I've seen lots of it represents so much, man. It's such a good
yeah.
representation of life and people and nature, and it's it's such a simple symbol, but it represents so much. It's like a profound symbol.
Yeah, it's saying complementary opposites. So the feminine, masculine. It also represents balance and wholeness. So it represents the complete circle. Removing either yin or yang creates disharmony. So you see the complete, the balance, the dynamic flow it represents, the swirling shapes show that the forces are constantly transformed into each other. And inner peace, it also represents how life's inevitable ups and downs, peaks and troughs, rather than striving for unrealistic perfection. So it's
Thank you, and that's what Instagram created, and that's why, man, there are so many problems because of that, man. I used to always like tell women like real life is not a fairy tale. Now I say real life is an Instagram, and it hits them a little harder because everyone's always posting their best life and only good things, man. No one's posting the down times, and that's real life. You're gonna go through ups and downs, just like you read, man, and that's what I try to tell women. It doesn't matter, dude. They don't care. They want Mr. Perfect. They want a perfect life. They want to. Hey, if every woman wants a 1% man. Like the math doesn't add up. You know what I mean? It's just it's so dumb. It's so delusional.
no, that's the new age, the new you know yo, Joss Max is hilarious, bro. Yeah, the perfect balance. I
Bro,
tell you
I
the
should, man. And when people ask me, man, I should tattoo the acronym on me. I really should, man. I think it's a truth.
no,
It
no,
is
no,
just a
you
truth
don't
in
you
life.
wanna Spirit of Spicoli says, did Jake also tattoo the name of the girl he was seeing? Spirit of Spicoli
Dude,
is
if anything, I would tattoo the acronym. It just proves it even more, dude. I just am so sick of this, man. Real life is not Instagram.
yeah, no, it's definitely, well, the internet has changed everything. So we live in a time that is so electronic. It's on such a high level of
It's disgusting how
yeah,
much
yeah.
sentence. It's
I mean,
disgusting what the
nobody
internet has
can
done to people.
well, nobody can the sad thing is the mobile. The mobile is what really took it to the next level. Now you got people that will be anywhere and they'll on Tinder swiping. I mean, it's just yeah, it has become an electronic like circus where yeah. and it just no, we many of us have met real women. Jake, for his own experiences, is a little bit different, but yeah, there is. I would
Well,
say they're all
I
real
mean,
women.
there's good women out there, man, but I'm saying less than 5%. I mean, the good ones get married young, and you ain't gonna run into them. It's just it's so rare nowadays to find a good woman. I mean, even like
Well, looking for
I
something.
think it's a lot better chance to find a good man than it is a good woman. That's what I'm gonna
Well,
say.
I mean, well, again, that's your opinion, and I hear what you're saying. I mean, I
In
think,
my opinion, sorry for
yeah.
to say
Well,
that.
when you look at a lot of people in general, I think it's hard to find good people. Really, it's like on both sides, you're gonna have people that,
That's a fact. I mean, good
yeah,
people are more rare nowadays, and it's
yeah.
because of the internet. I really think that has a lot to do with it.
Well, definitely it has something to do with it. I wouldn't put it all on the internet, but yeah, definitely has something to we've seen it orchestrate and like coerce behavior. And if we know your mind has to be really strong to just try to battle the zombie machine coming at you with regular stuff.
Man,
What
the internet though, like I remember when Facebook was like, still fairly new. There was a news report
Mhm.
that it was stated that Facebook was the cause of over a third of divorces because they found some old flame or some high school sweetheart or an ex
Mhm.
boyfriend or girlfriend or something like that, and so they
Mhm.
start talking to him. Next thing you know, there's an affair going on, and of course that's going to ruin a marriage. And bro, the internet just overall has been net negative to society, man. I wish it was not legal to post a picture of yourself online. I think that would solve so many problems. Like how we get on here, we have our avatars and we're discussing
Well,
ideas
why?
and
Why?
concepts.
Well,
That I think is great. I think having a library in the palm of your hand is great. I think having free apprenticeships is great, but that's not what most people use it for. Most people use it to try to create envy and jealousy among other people by trying to like post their best life, or that they strive for consumerism, uh, and they think consumerism is going to bring them happiness. All they find is it only brings temporary happiness, but still leaves an empty hole, because community relationships, I mean, those are the things that bring true happiness. Family, friends, but those things are all being destroyed by the internet. I just think overall,
but now
um,
remember,
the
happiness
internet's been a net negative.
when you seek happiness, that's the problem. Happiness is not something you seek, it's something that you experience, and you can't
I
experience
mean,
it all the
you-
time. So,
you're preaching that to the choir. I'm just saying that I've never had any social media. I knew it from the beginning that this is just a weird thing. It's not good. Like I've never had any social media. YouTube's the only like closest thing I have to social media, which I pretty much only get on these streams, man. 'Cause we talk about real things. It's like there's no reason to get on other streams with zombies. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
ND is 100% right. You can't seek happiness. You just you build a life that you're happy with, that you're content with, and you can't be content if you're always comparing yourself. Like comparison is the enemy of contentment. I don't know who said that, but it's a great quote.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, we do live in a culture where it is like crowingly narcissistic to where, I mean, the fact that people are just constantly wrapped up in themselves. But I don't know if that's gonna I don't know if that is actually is the blame. I mean, and again, instead of looking for blame, it's better to look for the cause. Like to say, okay, the cause one clearly the internet has pushed this on steroids. And Mr. X, you had something?
No, no, no. Just let you know I'm back.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
with work and everything. I'm
Um,
back here.
yeah, the
Yo,
internet.
Mr. X, what do you think, man? I think the internet has been net negative on humanity and society. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I understand. I mean, I'm a little bit older, well, a lot older probably than yourself. Um, and if I was a young man, I think the internet would be terrible to be a young man today, compared to what I had before the internet. But as an older person, I just don't mind because at this stage of my life, bring it on. You know what I mean? I've already lived my life, you know, and if it means just sitting in a lazy boy and putting a headset on and being in a virtual world, I'm okay with that. But I think that has a lot to do with my age. Um, it just doesn't bother me at this point, at this stage of the game. But I think if you were younger, yeah, yeah, the internet has definitely had serious effects,
Well,
negative effects.
yeah, I'm talking about society though. I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking
Okay.
about society. You know what I mean? Do you think the internet has been a net positive or a net negative for society?
I think both. I think both.
No, that's a cop
Yeah.
out answer. If you got to
No,
pick
no,
one,
because there's the access to information that we have as a society, you know, we have access at our fingertips that we can find information out that can help us. I mean, I can learn
I
things I
think
never
you,
learned before.
I think you missed what I said, man. Let me just recap it real quick. I said,
Okay.
having an apprenticeship, free apprenticeships, at your fingertips is great. Having a library at your fingertips is great. And I said, I wish it was illegal to post pictures of yourself online, like how we come in here with avatars and discuss ideas and concepts. But overall, as far as society goes, it broke down. Social media made people unsociable, in my opinion. It broke
Yeah, no, I agree with
relationships.
that part.
So
I agree.
to
I
me,
agree.
I think relationships and community are one of the most important things in life. I mean, I think that's what really brings fulfillment and contentment. And without that, it's just a lonely, narcissistic world. And I mean, I would say overall, man, if I had to rate it, right? Because how did people learn stuff before? You went to your elders, like you want to learn about mechanics, you find someone who knows how to fix a car. You also build a friendship and a relationship with them as they're teaching you. I mean, so if you wanted to learn more things, like even though it might be a little slower, take a little more time, I think that's a lot more valuable developing that relationship as you're learning from that person too. Like
But that's
instead of
assuming that you'd find that person in your real life.
right, I mean, but if you
Like
wanted to,
MD,
you
like would you
could,
have met MD without this platform? You never would have met somebody like
Yeah,
MD.
that's what I'm saying. This stream is so important because like finding people
Hmm.
who are not zombies is so rare that we got to talk to people in other states to even get
Yeah.
a small community together. So I mean that part, yeah, but
That's why I see there's a positive
yeah,
because
I'm not saying it's 100% negative. I'm saying it's a net negative
mm,
though.
no, I
Jailhouse Maxer,
yeah.
brother, thank you for the support, bro. Jailhouse Maxer says the degeneracy in relationships is a result of freedom. Freedom is a double-edged sword. Yeah, freedom is definitely a double-edged sword.
I already
Definitely.
say interesting comment, but I
Thank you,
disagree
brother.
with it.
Thank you for the support, brother. I think Jake is on his scribes here, so it's about to get
There is
real.
no way, dude, that anyone can make a case that the internet has been net negative on society. I mean, look at society now in 2020 compared to 50 years ago. Look at 1970. Which community was better to live in? I mean, the facts speak for themselves.
I don't know. I wouldn't technologically. I would not be able to. Knowing what I know now, like if I were to go in a time machine and go back to the 50s or whatever, I don't know if I could do without the phone thing. That's a tough one. I mean, people
It'd be
we like to
easy
say
for
these
me.
things, but
I mean,
that's
Scribe,
only
you're
if you
older
didn't
than
know about
me.
it. Yeah, but I'm
I mean, when
more
I
like
was a
I
teenager, I didn't have
understand
a phone.
the value of tech.
No, you guys are
Yeah.
close though. You guys are like within 5 years, I think.
Well, when I grew up, man, like I bought a car before I bought a phone because to me having a car was more important. So I could go see, drive wherever, see my friends. Like people would call me on the landline. I'd say, "Cool, where are you guys at? Whatever, you know. All right, I'm gonna pick you up here. Then we're gonna go out to this party over here. All right, let's go." It's like I didn't need a phone with me 24/7. If I wanted to figure out how to go somewhere, I could still get on the internet on the computer and like look up MapQuest and like write down the directions, or
Mhm.
like look at a map and write down the directions and then get there. It was just I just think a phone is not a necessity. People do not need to be able to get a hold of you 24/7. There's it's overall been a net negative, man. I mean, what did people having connections do? It's like you're sitting in the same room texting each other sometimes. That's what Gen Z kids do. It's crazy. And then like you're sitting and then instead of ever seeing your friends, you just see what they do online. and you don't actually like have a relationship with that person. It's a very weird thing, man, that I don't like. I think it was just a net negative on society and relationships and community, which to me, those are some of the most important things in life. I mean, I don't having a library at the tip of your fingers. I mean, is great because I've learned how to fix a lot of things because of that. Do a lot of things of my own, but if the internet was limited to that, limited to information instead of this social stuff, or we know what happens when people post pictures of themselves, you're getting a lot of cheating and affairs and women advertising themselves for certain things, and it's overall been a net negative. I
Would you
think.
rather not know, Jake? You know, all the underbelly stuff that happens regardless. I mean, it kind of, calls people out by say, see how look what this guy's doing. It's like he's showing you who he is, or this woman's showing you who she is. She's showing you all her victims going to, to Disney World, all these things, letting you know that, you coming over here, this is the minimum you're gonna do for me. At least we get to know these things, right? At least that is there. We don't go into it completely
I
blind. I know what
mean,
you're saying about
I,
about the kid thing. That you can blame on autism. A lot of these kids now who wouldn't have gone out anyway, at least have a phone now to pretend or have an AI girlfriend or whatever. Before they had nothing. They were just there.
yeah, I just don't think so. I just think even weird kids like found the other nerds and like they had their own little clique. You know what I mean? Like they would have found each other in school. They would have seen each other, and I like what you're saying about like at least people shows who they are on the internet, because even though they're posting on public things, like it's still a showing their true nature or whatever. And I think it did reveal people's true nature, which unfortunately there. I mean, it's just a fact that there's one. I won't say one gender is better than the other, but what I will say, because if the other gender had as much opportunity as the other, I think they would act the same. You know what I mean? But it did ruin relationships, is what I think. Like friendships, community, and intimate relationships. I think all of those it negatively affected.
Depends. Like you guys were talking about the yin and the yang thing earlier. Um, I want to ask MD about that because that's a very powerful symbol that predates, the Christian cross and all these things like this. These are all sacred geometry symbols. Um, what does that mean to you? Do MD, you've seen the yin and yang? Does that symbol seem real to you, or does it just seem like one of these? Just it could be whatever.
Oh, it's real. Yeah, it's real. It's polarity, feminine, masculine, positive, negative. It represents a lot of the duality. And
Okay,
then
so
yeah, it shows, stuff, the one part in the side of the other one. Yeah.
are you aware that that's a flat Earth symbol?
Oh man, why, man? Why?
Because it does represent the
Oh
duality.
my
It does represent
goodness.
the vortex. It does
Oh
represent
my
the sun and
goodness.
moon.
He
All
brought
right,
it.
Did they a
the little
planet
dots are the
symbol?
sun and moon.
He brought it
It
in.
represents the sun and moon, the negative, positive, the whole thing, the
He says it
vortex.
represents
You
the
know,
FE now. I'm like, why?
so it's like I believe in it, but then when it's the second I
Why?
tell you where it comes from, like, oh man, you see. Well,
Oh my
that's
goodness.
why, because it represents that what you're talking about. It
Where
represents
is the
the
X?
life cycle that goes in a rotation.
Where
Not the Earth
is
itself going in
the
rotation,
X?
but the energy, what
Oh
creates
my
this life here.
goodness.
And those little
It's an
dots are representative of
interesting
the sun and
concept that
moon.
I've never heard before, but the yin and yang symbol related to the FE, but
Yeah. So is your
Jailhouse Max.
watch. If you look at your
Jailhouse Max.
watch, same thing.
I will say the UN uses a certain map is all I'll say.
I think this
Exactly.
is in reference to Jake. Jailhouse Maxa says there's a big trade-off for having lots of technology and access to information, and that's true. There's definitely a big trade-off, man. And one of them I would say is lack of privacy. Like it definitely limits the privacy, or we have to like find a way to limit it. But yeah, there are trade-offs, man. That's important. There are trade-offs to have a lot of technology and access to information. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely what were you saying, Scribe, about the so you're saying the yin, the yang. So that's what was. I knew it was something. I said, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a top-down view of this realm. You see the sun and moon and the earth, and the
Um.
sun and moon are rotating, and the center is a
Oh,
vortex, and
so you tell me
that's
the
where the
two
life
little
force came
balls
from.
inside is the sun and
Right.
moon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Holy
And
smoke!
they're trying to say, "Oh no, the sun is 10 billion times bigger and all that." No, it's not. You look, use your eyes. You
Um,
look up. They look exactly the same size. So again,
holy smoke!
more of these lies, spewed everywhere. But that symbol is an ancient symbol to represent that.
Wow.
And above, you don't see the heavens part, but that's where the astrological
It couldn't
symbols
be
are.
something different. So you sure it couldn't just be positive, negative?
Well, what do you think the sun and moon are representing? What do you think that's what's going on there? What do you think the light and dark are about? I mean,
Oh, I mean, that whole thing is kind of cultish, man. You already know
what do you mean a cult?
the
There's
whole.
nothing wrong with a cult either. Go look up the word cult and
Oh
tell me if
my
there's something wrong with
goodness,
that
the
word.
whole
Or
flat this
or
cult,
are you thinking of occult and there's nothing wrong with that word either? That just means hidden. Again, you use these words that they
the
think are
flat
evil
cult,
connotation. There's nothing.
that whole
There's nothing. There's nothing evil about it.
these dudes,
You could say an evil cult. Okay, you have to put the word in
not
front of it.
evil, but
A
it's
cult.
a
Look up the word cult and tell me what it means.
yeah, but okay, mind controlling cult maybe. How about that? Because it's
Okay,
like
see
they
now you're
don't have
adding.
no
Okay,
open
yeah.
mindedness to contemplate existence. Like, okay, like the title of the stream, the simulation, right? So if it seems the simulation question, the simulation theory of existence, that shows that all of the flat and everything is all irrelevant at that point. To say it's simulation theory of existence.
Right. If there's a simulation, that means that there's some form of some sort of machine that,
Well, it
just like
doesn't have
Wizard
to
of
be a
Oz,
machine.
when
What
they
if
pull
it's
back the
just
curtain,
simulated?
that's the machine. That's the machine that runs the world. All those gears and stuff you see, that's the machine that literally makes the world go
No,
around.
it's not in this world because it's a simulation. So when we come out of this
Well, but
world,
it could be
do
a
we
projection
see
from this world.
do we see that we were in a simulation when we come out of this world? That's the thing. That's what
What
we
was
were
that?
talking
Can you
about.
repeat that?
Do we see that we were in a simulation when we come out of this world, like the Matrix? You come out of the Matrix, you're on the ship. You come out of the pod,
Absolutely.
you're in the real world. So with this, you
Hmm.
start to say, okay, if this is a simulation and you come out of it, like you would be somewhere else saying, holy smokes, this right here now, you'd be like, this was a simulation, a physical, it was real, but not just a simulation, but a real simulation. What if it's a simulation to where it goes beyond simulation, but we're actually making jumps or passages through real worlds? And this is one of those worlds.
Right.
You
That's why
know,
they call this Midgard. There's a name for it. So there's
well,
different
that's what
levels of
they're
this.
saying. I'm talking about us speculating and thinking for ourselves. This is where we break free from any other people's cult. You see?
So there's been nobody who's ever been revealed the truth of this simulation to then be able to pass that
Well,
on. I mean, I don't think it's all mainstream wise, but I think there's
why
people who've
would we
been
need
in this
them?
situation.
If we could think for ourselves, we don't need them because they can only hinder us. So
Well,
we
now,
have, if regardless of how you look at it, if we really want to know the truth, we have to start thinking. There's no other choice. Otherwise, we're believing what somebody
well, a
tells
good
us.
example is the guy. You can look him up. He's got a long history with, and Art Bell sought him out. He didn't seek out Art Bell. He heard about some guy who did like a small version of a time machine. He was playing around using coins, and he would throw them into this field, and they would disappear for like 10 seconds, and it would pop out into reality again. And he got Art Bell found out about him, and then he says, "What if because he actually went out and stole some generators that he shouldn't have taken because they were laying on the yard. He's like, oh, just go pick them up." But they found out that's for the electric company that you're not supposed to do that. They arrested him. They found out that he made this thing. So when he called in the show the second time, or he brought him on the show. He's like, "Hey, what if we get our audience to, do a GoFundMe? We can hook you up with some better equipment." All they did all that stuff. People flew out there. They went to see the facility. Art Bill got to go see and all that. So this was not like Art Bell just listening to somebody. He helped this guy build this stuff. He went out there and looked at it and saw it. So he went to the point to where he walked into this thing, and he ended up not coming back for 2 years. So apparently, going to the past is completely going to the future. But he was able to do that. And then when he got back 2 years later, all the stuff was gone, all the equipment was gone. He got back on the Art Bell show and explained what happened. And then, I mean, you can't make this stuff. I mean, this is verified document for like, I don't know, 20 years of him and Art Bell going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Um, and it's a long story. You go look at that, you're just like, wow, okay. So these little glimpses of these things happening, meanwhile we think it's all fantasy. There's people doing this stuff, or reverse engineering Tesla Tower, or reverse engineering the water engine, or any of these things. They're out there. It's just they never make it to light of day, but a few of them do, like that one with Art Bell. So I think that's why the Art Bell thing was always kept in that dark. That he never was taken seriously in the mainstream, and they did something to his son, and then eventually he got taken out. So he's got a lot of people on there that did stuff that were like, wow, you see later, you go back and look at it, that you're like, yeah, there's more overwhelming evidence of a lot of these things going on. So, so if you don't hear about them or research them, it seems fantastical. But when you look at the real thing, you realize, okay, so it's not the same way they told me, but it's actually possible to do it. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, Spirit of Spicoli says, when in doubt, just ask Tupac. Oh my goodness. Spirit of
Yeah, you could.
Spicoli.
I mean, that's another, a good asking someone of that caliber, would be interesting to see what they say.
So the whole thing, the yin and the yang, that's what summoned you? That was the
Yeah, because that's one of the symbols that predates, the Christian cross, and is the most basic symbols to understand and look at, and it shows you, okay, the sun and moon, night and dark. And NASA's trying to say, no, the sun is all the way over here somewhere, billions and trillions of miles away, and it's a trillion times bigger. It's showing you balance. It's showing you the dualistic thing. So how can one thing be lopsided, massive thing, and then a little moon going around the Earth? It's just, again, more pseudoscience, idiocracy. This is all about balance, and the electricity with the dielectricity, which is what the moon is. It does give off its own moon light, which causes and creates photosynthesis at night for the plants and all these things that happen. So they're saying, no, it's just a rock with some light reflecting on it. Even though I can go outside and scientifically, undoubtedly test this, go under shade and test it during the day where the shade is cooler. And then when I test it at night, the shade is hotter because the sun is giving up a cold moonlight effect. So again, just little basic stuff like that can be completely just destroyed. And this is mainstream science, and they claim that this has been tested by the best in the world. And how can so many people be lying about this and all that? Well, there it is. Just basic little things like this can be completely destroyed because their pseudoscience has to go to such drastic, crazy measures to add on things that string theory and all this other stuff to make it make it have any kind of sense to it. And then gravity and all these things add to it. Take out the ether, take out all these major components and replace it with garbage. Now you have this completely just, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's divine. You don't know what's real. And you live in a life of complete just chaos. You end up being that's why most people just end up being an atheist. Like, screw it. I'm not even going to deal with all this because none of this stuff makes sense. Well, because we've been lied to, misinformed completely over and over and over. Not only that, manufactured lies that have taken hundreds of years to manufacture and add layers and layers and layers of lies mixed in with truth to have these convoluted, insane, crazy mysteries that take hundreds of years to decipher. Well, when you have manufactured lies, it takes much longer to decipher it because you don't even realize they took out components that actually exist, like the ether and these other things that really exist. Oh, ghosts don't exist anymore. Demons don't exist anymore. We took out the ether. None of that exists anymore. UFOs don't exist. None of that exists because we just happen to take that out. So now it doesn't exist anymore. This is how insane this is. And we just eat all this up like it's, like it's normal. But Yeah, I mean, that's why people, we've come to this point this many years, this many years later, arguing over a topic such as what do we live on? That's how crazy this is. Like that's how long we've been systematically just misinformed, in my opinion. And it's very apparent when you look around and you see that nothing makes sense. This is why it's so easy to just completely mind control someone when you take away the truth of why they're here and you put them on a different mission. Or like some of these, I can't even discuss that either. Like an example is like in the Muslim side where they have these kids do the thing, um, and they supposedly drug them, have them go to sleep, take them to a palace, and they have them wake up. And, oh, you're in heaven. All you have to do is when you go back and wake up in your house, just do this for me, and you'll come back here. I mean, they'll do all kinds of just crazy stuff to get people to think there's 72 virgins waiting for them if they commit some atrocity. And this is how gullible and easy we've been led to. So if it's that easy for them to do that, just imagine this side over here in the U.S. where you already know it's just complete zombified. How easy is it to get people to believe in just outlandish stuff to make them do something? Because that's really what this is about. It's like you do something, you hit the bee nest, 9/11, and then people get mad. Pearl Harbor, people get mad. Now all of a sudden, it's okay for us to go to war and all these things. So you see how these things are orchestrated. And it's really sad because we can never really focus on the real knowledge, and you have school there to keep you distracted with just basic stuff and keep you within the bubble of you can only go over here if you're gonna survive. You can't think outside the box over here. If you do, something bad might happen. And guess what? Most of those people who did say, you know what, I'm leaving, those are the billionaires. Those are the millionaires. Usually, most of them. The ones who stayed in school, in college, all that, they probably have a nice degree, but they're probably not being able to live good now. Especially now, you need a lot more equity to survive. So they're just barely making it. Even though you're making 100, 200,000 a year, that's just barely, kind of making it. So it's revealed a lot, and this technology is kind of it's a back and forth thing to where they understood that if they gave humans technology, they knew, okay, we're going to have to put in a lot of extra layers of security just because now they have this kind of power. But at the same time, those layers of securities are going to be put on them through the technology itself. So we're going to use the technology to also keep them in check, um, listen, everything, tracking everything, all these things, only allowing the certain technology to exist. Meanwhile, the other technology cannot exist. Um, to keep us in that controlled environment. So yeah, the deeper you think about it, that's why you'll never have free energy. You'll never That's never going to be an option, even though it's been invented, even though it's there uh, for long, who knows how long before Tesla. So they cannot introduce certain things, water engines, certain things that will disrupt the economical,
In your
bubble.
opinion, in your opinion.
Well, in my opinion, but at the same time, we've seen it, for what it is, and we know that the oil thing should not be something that's still there, considering if we had this technology. Again, in my opinion, but um, at this point, it's very apparent, you know, that we should be somewhere else where they claim we should have been Jetson style, but we're still here doing this. And the thing with the Mars thing and all these other things, again, making people think, oh, we can just, this world doesn't matter. We just leave here, go somewhere else, rid ourselves of responsibility of Earth, and just let it, whatever, and just be off to doing whatever we want to do. It's, but yeah, go ahead. Been rambling too long.
Yeah, I mean, it just you were getting deep. You were getting deep. I mean, I look at it like regardless if we go into something, which it definitely doesn't seem like this would be the end. Like at the least, seems that we transform. So the way, like we were saying earlier, the way a caterpillar transforms into a cocoon to turn into a pupa to become a butterfly. You know, you think about that stuff. You say you're like, there's just, I mean, thinking about the process of a caterpillar metamorphosizing. There's just to think that that would happen over millions or even billions of years by chance. The big thing that that tells us is that the person who believes that is extremely gullible and will convince themselves that something is true when it obviously is not. To say, wait a minute, do you understand the mathematical calculations it would take to do something not even like close to that by chance?
You know what's insane is that he's creating his own pod. He's literally creating his own little lab. He's putting himself in this pod.
Hmm.
He's metamorphosizing. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, you
Yeah,
think about it.
yeah. Jailhouse Maxer, brother, thank you for the support, bro. Jailhouse Maxer says, we're all brainwashed to dismiss the supernatural, but the high ranking people, Hollywood, politicians, billionaires, all believe in it. That's absolutely true, man. Thank you, brother. You definitely keeping it real. This is you're right. All of the high ranking people, they know, they believe in it. They don't say nothing. They'll even try to dismiss it. So, like, yes, exactly. Like Jailhouse Max was saying, we're all brainwashed to dismiss the supernatural. Yeah, man. This is it's so true. We can look at it in many aspects of life on how if we mention supernatural stuff, it's sort of like, oh, you're not being scientific. Meanwhile, science points towards the supernatural. Science, it tells us that this is more than natural. It is supernatural. There are things that are natural and there are things that are supernatural. And to think about supernatural and natural, then that means there must be subnatural. So just like the subconscious, and then the conscience, right? We have the conscious, the subconscious, and then, of course, the super consciousness. Just the way we have supernatural, natural, and subnatural, we have subconscious, conscious, and super consciousness. So yeah, that's definitely deep, man. They
There you go. That means nothing's natural.
yeah, it's very artificial. It's very created. Yeah, it's very created. Yeah.
That's the one that one guy hit me when he said, "Look, if you want to know what's real, look around and see if anything contradicts each other. Does anything contradict what reality should be? Does anything defy the laws of physics? Does anything defy the laws of what we know is true, supposedly through science? And if it does, then you're probably living in some sort of simulation, because that therefore should not exist if it was a natural, supposedly a natural world, right? So that's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, we have the unnatural, the natural. We have and then we wonder, we have to when we put it into those different categories, now we see it deeper. Jailhouse Maxer says, what if the supernatural is undiscovered science? Because science in America is manipulated by these high ranking people too. Exactly. Exactly. I think more than a lot of it is definitely undiscovered science, but I think there's parts of it that have been discovered, but then it's suppressed. So they'll suppress it. And I think that's a big part of what the theory or the religion of evolution does. It kind of pushes us to not, like you were saying earlier, to dismiss the supernatural. Yeah. Lewis, thank you, brother, for the support. Lewis says, thoughts on these ICE agents running around arresting and detaining people of color due to their accents. They have been raiding schools too. Wow. Wow, I didn't know that. I did see something
Honestly,
about,
we need to be careful about that topic because it's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we'll have to say it in a certain way, but um I did see a video on YouTube where the guy was saying about his accent, and it was really blatantly uh, what I would call, in my opinion, like a prejudice screening of the person. I mean, for somebody to say that they are, you know, speaking with an accent, even though they're a citizen of the country, it really, I mean, you look at the people that they're granting these badges to, from what these videos are saying, a lot of them are at the point where people are accusing them, or I think some have been actually exposed as being nationalist. And it's, yeah, it's very, very much orchestrated. I mean, the whole they're running around, yeah, and it really, people are looking at it like it's some serious the true colors are coming out. Like when they say you give somebody power, you start to see what they're about, and we're seeing it now. We're seeing it now. Yeah. Thoughts on that? Is just, it's horrible, the fact that people are going through something that could be done in a way that's not traumatizing. It's really crazy. Yeah, it's just, when you look at it and you start to see that, it's like Jamal had brought it up. We have over I think it was, I couldn't believe the amount. I think it was like 18,000 different branches of law enforcement. It's just crazy, man. It's just, yeah. Yeah, it is real. The fact with the schools, oh my goodness, man. It's horrible. Yeah, I really think yeah, it's horrible, man. Black Circle, good to see you, brother. Always a pleasure, man. Yeah, they're just following order cells. Exactly. That's exactly. It's like we see it clearly. We see it clearly, man. This is, I mean, it's tyrannical. It is tyrannical. We do, you know, we stay within the guidelines when we talk about every subject. That subject there, it's a touchy one. But yeah, I don't feel, I feel that when, with all of these law enforcement agencies, that it just opens the door up for more corruption. I mean, also, if you just, I tell people, I don't, I don't think there's any politician I could just name off the top of my head. Like, no president has ever gone to jail. So it's like, okay, well, they did arrest Trump and he got the felony, but it's like, so presidents don't do crime, it's trying to tell us. Vice presidents, anybody in the cabinet, the in Congress, in the House of Representatives, what we don't see tells us a lot in between the lines with that. So yeah, this whole agent epidemic type of thing, it's crazy, man. It's really, it shows just how much of what we live in is very similar to like a hospital, like a psychiatric hospital. It's very similar to a psych ward, you know. And yeah, I've heard that there's a thing where you somebody had posted something about you, that he had a 125 IQ and they said it was too high. They said that if he would get bored doing police work. That's the excuse they used for saying that if your IQ is too high, they wouldn't hire you. That's crazy. So in other words, you'll think, because if you see an unjustified order, you might think and not follow it. That's really what it's about. It seems to be that would make more sense.
It's not really intelligence, morals and compassion. If you have morals and compassion, they really don't want you in that situation.
Yeah. And true intelligence it brings a person to that intelligence. You start to see that compassion and kindness and care are some of the highest forms of intelligence that there is. But the society we see tries to tell us intelligence exists on a piece of paper. It exists on what you can answer on a piece of paper, not the actions that you act out in life. And that's a big thing that's missed. The fact that an intelligence test is honestly not taken in the classroom. It's taken in life, in how you perceive and how you receive, to say, okay, this is how I flow through life. Somebody could not score high on an IQ test, but have an intelligence where they can deal with people that goes beyond an IQ test. I'm pretty sure the people in Congress and in the House of Representatives and political cabinets are not the highest IQ individuals. But one, definitely they're there through nepotism. And another thing is some of them we see, like with Kissinger and some of these other ones, they had a level of psychology on knowing how to talk and deal with people um, and manipulate them through language without them even knowing they're being manipulated. That's the craziest thing. That's the real deal, to where when you know somebody is dangerous, where you basically got to be paranoid talking with them, because you don't know if you can fall into a state of being controlled mentally, thinking that you're still acting of your own accord. I mean, if a hypnotist can do stuff to an audience, what do you think a government can do? And that's
Exactly, and they're using subliminals and all kinds of stuff we don't even know about. But the IQ thing, when I look at it for what it is, it's IQ conformity. It's really about just strictly conformity. Can you answer this question the way I want you to answer it?
yeah,
You see, that's the difference. So if I want to say, well, that question's invalid because I have a better way of doing that, or it's an old way of seeing things, or if I don't answer it properly, therefore I'm a dummy. So this is how just ridiculous, you know. And a lot of these IQ tests are multiple choice, right? Just like the SATs, only the multiple choice. So again, you have to choose what they conclude is IQ smart to be in their world, not for your world.
mhm.
If you think anything other than that, you're gonna fail, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, you're right. Alexis says he wants to ban MAGA political zombie. This guy's under. He's hilarious. Yeah, man. He's definitely. I mean, if he stays without threatening people or any racial slurs, definitely if he comes out with a racial slur or a threat or a dox. Yeah,
Oh, it's good to have opposition so we see the effects. You know, this is the effects of what we call zombies, so you get to see it live, you know, in the chat. Yeah, as long as he's not doing anything crazy or doxing, then yeah.
yeah, yeah. He seems kind of cool. But I hear what you're saying, Alexis. You know, man. If your discretion is cool, man. It just, or if I mean, yeah, he's been kind of respectful, but yeah, he can get yeah, it's impossible to wake up. Yeah, it's impossible to wake up a political. Yeah, the opposition is good as long as yeah, exactly, as long as he doesn't racist like the typical MAGAs. Yeah, if he comes out, yeah, he has stayed away from that a little from what I've seen. I haven't read all his stuff, but yeah, yeah, I mean, just the name alone says it. You start to be like, man, we're having deep conversations, and I'll give it to Maga. See, this is the thing, Maga. I think you said it up here. I didn't highlight it, but you say this stuff is deep, man. When you guys don't talk politics, you drop some knowledge. Now, this statement that you're saying here tells us, right, that you yourself, you're not seeing the fact that you're not seeing. I think I think Mike is trolling. I think he's playing around. I don't think he's MAGA, because everybody knows Trump is not married to a Latina. He's married to a Russian. Wow, this is
He's thinking of George
hilarious.
Bush or something.
Huh?
I think
Yeah,
he's
he
thinking
was.
of George Bush Jr., yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't even know. George Bush Jr. was married to a white lady.
Or wasn't she half Mexican or something? Or
Was she?
someone was.
Laura
Someone's
Bush?
married to.
Laura
No, no,
Bush?
that's Senior Bush.
No,
You're
no,
talking
no.
about which one? You're talking about
Junior.
George.
Barbara Bush was senior.
Oh wait, was
Laura
it? Who
Bush
was
was
it? Someone
junior.
was born to a Latino. I'm trying to remember.
Or it might have been Ted Cruz or something.
Well, that would be obvious, Cruz, but I'm trying to remember if there's a white guy.
And we're not saying that Trump, there's definitely instances of him being racist, but it's the supporters that are actually, he's weaponizing that's what we're saying. So yeah, the opposition is cool as long as, yeah, he's been respectful. I definitely see, but I could see he gets I think he's playing around. No, he doesn't. See, this is how I know MAGA Mike is a puppet, because
It was Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush married a Mexican citizen.
okay, okay. Yeah, because Trump doesn't have black or Spanish. He let all those people go. And he's a puppet. It's true. Yeah, he's a puppet, man. Yeah, he's a straight up puppet. See, this is how I know. Yeah, you're definitely zombie. Definitely zombie. Yeah, he's zombie, man. He's zombie. Yeah, definitely yeah. Yeah, just man, I can't see, and this is the thing, Mike. You just seen that you said yourself that we have a great conversation. We get deep when we're not talking about politics. So, doesn't that also stand for you could be part of a deep conversation if you didn't talk about politics? You see? So when we look at this, you yourself are saying that the less we talk about politics, the deeper the conversation is going to be. But when you bring it back to politics, it gets shallow. This is why Alexis here was saying that he was possibly considering banning you. You know, that the fact that you're becoming unreal, when we can have a great conversation without politics doesn't allow for a good conversation, because it keeps us in a very shallow part of thinking. Very, very shallow. Matter of fact, we're not even really thinking, we're believing. You know, all people in government are unqualified. They get there through other means, it seems to be. I mean, look at,
And
come on.
at
You
the
think,
same time, go ahead. You want to finish it? Go ahead.
you know, it's like you think yeah, he thinks people get there like from their skill. Yeah, you know what it is? I think he's going into the Kirk. Yeah, I think this guy's he's kind
I
of
mean, I want to
trolling.
give them just one piece of real quick advice on that. It's, when you compare it to the people who truly have the real power, and in my opinion, it's the people, that rule the monarchies. Again, monarchy. In their mind, it's one, right? It's one, the queen, the king, whatever it is that's ruling that system. There is no opposing force. There is no Democrat. There is no Republican, libertarian, all these things going at it at the same time. There is none of that. There's one unified force that says this is the best for the country. Let everyone vote, and people should, if they vote, it should be for voting on what should we be fixing, what should we be putting our money into, what should we be doing for the future. No, none of that's considered. So you have two opposing sides, supposedly left and right wing, and part of the same bird controlling left and right. So where can there any be, if any, unification in that particular algorithm when you set up two opposing forces that have to battle each other within a supposed country? It makes absolutely zero sense. Makes absolutely zero sense, but nobody contests it. How are you supposed to have unification at all in this situation? You're never going to have unification because one side's always against the other side. So you're constantly having back and forth, civil war, civil war. So it's never ending. And if people can't even understand basic algorithmic structures like that, we are doomed to understand stuff that's more complicated. So this just blows my mind that people think, oh man, my side's gonna win. Oh, my side's gonna win. I'm gonna do all it. And every 4 years, it's the same thing over and over. They never do what they say they're gonna do. It's the same thing, and people are still up there. It's just like, come on, man, give yourself a break. Just look at it for what it is, and it's a rigged system, in my opinion. And when you look at the people in power, they don't have opposing forces. They have monarchies. They have oligarchies. They have eras of families that go on for generations, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years or whatever. You don't see them having opposing forces ever. But go ahead.
Yeah, I think Mike is in a state of mind control. Hopefully he comes around, All he's got to do is listen. Like the fact that he was listening and seeing how deep it was getting without politics, maybe he'll see that you can't have a deep conversation with a political zombie, and yeah, Alexis is right. Mike, you seriously believe the Second Amendment is our right? You think AR-15s can handle a full auto machine gun? It's like, yeah, Mike, you're not thinking. See, that's the thing. You got to think. It's like Alexis is presenting something very logical here to you, but the just the belief, that belief, man, in the government, and the government is good at trying to make people do that. But over here, if you just listen, Mike, you'll see how we've managed to break the mind control and keep it off when they try to bring up a political thing. There is no the political solution is to keep you brain dead, basically, to keep a person where they can't think for themselves. So metaphorically brain dead, to where they don't want to critically think, you know? Well, the reason this is the thing. They're not scared of our guns. They would, otherwise we would get run over. We'd get run over right now with guns. That's what we're saying. It's an illusion. And I'm not saying they should take them. What I'm saying is that's like having a pistol against people with rifles. Now, you might be able to hold yourself off and even get one or two, but the rifles are going to win. Now, you got rifles versus what? Machine guns? Okay, then let's just say you get machine guns. Are you going to fight cannons with a machine gun? And even if you get a cannon, are you going to fight tanks? Are you going to fight helicopters with tanks? No. So this is how tough it is. They pull the money from us, whether we like it or not, with tax, right? They pull it. You don't pay tax, they take tax. And they use it to create weapons that are more powerful than anything you can buy legally. That's another thing right there. The fact that the government can own stuff that you can't. And again, it shows, yeah, he this is a great one, Alexis. Yep, there's no way you believe the farmer's defeating the biggest army in the world story, Mike. Yep, exactly. He's going right back to farmer. Yep, he's going right back to farmer patriotism. For the rakes and the shovels beat the British army, right? And we got independence. It's like they were rolling over native warriors, nations, and they want us to believe that, oh yeah, you guys beat the British. You're free. It's like the mind.
I wonder why we speak their language.
Yeah, everybody speaks English. Everybody, the world. I mean, you go anywhere in the world, you might not find somebody that speaks Russian, but you will most likely find somebody that speaks English. It's pretty well established. Yeah, exactly. The native people knew the land better than the farmers. Yep. How did they knew the land to a level that was just like beyond some. Are you talking warfare on another level? I mean, it really does, when you think about it, boggle the mind. How do you think? It's like they believe, like, oh yeah, it was patriotism, and that same delusional patriotism transfers down today into the MAGA or the political zombie, basically thinking that I mean, that whole belief is dangerous. It's really dangerous, and it riles up other people to get that feeling, that feeling of what is it? It's actually a false sense of victory. You ain't doing nothing but getting beat down. Didn't they get beat down on the January 6th thing, and now they're rewriting history? They were saying they're rewriting what happened on that day. I mean, this is like some 1984 thing in the open now. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
To think that governments are above monarchies is the most insane thing I've ever heard. To think that somehow we're this country only being what 300 something years old somehow is going to go against entities that have been around for who knows how long
No,
and
it's
have hoarded all
200.
the technology.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's gonna be like 200.
Yeah, not even exactly. So it's like a blink of an eye, and we're supposed to be going up against something that's been there for who knows how long, with lots of resources and knowledge kept away, and literally religions, or at least the truth about them, I would say Christianity or any of the deep
Right.
ones, to store that stuff in the Vatican Library or whatever. Or if there's an issue, like the Alexander thing, to burn the library and stuff, burn it down, whatever. So they know when to cause these particular uh,
Well, this year,
wars and
this
things. Yeah.
year is the 250th anniversary, 1776 to 2026. This is the 250th anniversary. Remember, 1976 was the bicentennial, right?
Hmm.
That was the bicentennial quarters. This guy, MAGA Mike, is hilarious. If George Washington was a, yeah. Oh my goodness, this is just
Exactly. Who was what? Freemason brought again by
it
the
just
monarchs to come over and
it
create the first
you
corporation.
know see the thing is too, see, we know that's why we don't get mad at people like that. We know he's going through some mental stuff, and he might look back at some of his comments when he wakes up and say, wow, these guys were patient with me. He might say like, wow, guys, how did you even tolerate me, man? It's because this is the place where survivors come. This is the place. Yeah, he definitely, yeah. Whenever he comes to riding, at least he knows where to aim at.
And
Yeah.
where was George Washington from? What country was he from?
I think he was from England, right?
He's British.
Right.
British colony of Virginia, 1732 is when he was born.
So he was from, which was part of the British. So he was born in Britain. Well, no, he was
Right. So
born in.
Freemason British guy being the American president.
It says birthplace Pope's Creek, Virginia. He was a British subject born in the American colonies, and his family was established planters. And again, the fake victory, Continental Army to victory in the Revolutionary War, establishing the United States as a new nation. It's something's very odd. We already know.
Well, that leads where? That leads straight to the monarchs of Britain and England and all that stuff. So again, it's like I didn't even know that. I wasn't even thinking about it. I just looked up. It's like, where's this guy from? Oh, it happens to be Brit. He's British. So that is so hilarious. And once you're on target with these things, you start looking stuff up for the heck of it, and you start realizing, oh man, this is all adding up not really perfectly.
Oh yeah, that's when you really find stuff. When you start looking it up for yourself, you start finding stuff where it's like,
When you ask
whoa.
yourself, if this is true, then this must be true. And then when you look that up and find out that's true too, you're like, okay, now I'm on to something.
Yeah, it's on another level. They say he was the first of 6 children of Augustine Washington, was American planner, and Mary Ball. His father was a justice of the peace. So yeah, kind of when you look up all of this stuff, it makes you wonder, man. And he was of the Federalist Party. Wow. I tell you, man, when you really look through at how countries like were established and all of this stuff, it's like it's all like crookery. It's like Robert Greene said, it's all a mental game of powers is totally psychological. To think that somebody else could do it better. And the only part of letting them do it is sloth. Is sloth.
Yeah.
It's basically not saying, all right, you patrol the town. I'll do something else. Meanwhile, we know that we have to take a part in this, because if we don't, then that person begins to get a lot of power to where they could do more than just patrol the town. They could use it as a source of control. And it comes from people being too lazy to, make sure, like, hey, you know what? We got to make sure you're doing the right thing. And again, uh, to stay aware enough, because there's going to be stuff that happens that we have to keep people in line. I mean, it really tells us a lot about society and stuff, to where you see the crooks. Um, yeah, yeah, this is true. Became a master mason. Yeah,
At age 20. So when did he become president of the United States?
I think it was later on. Let me see. I had it here. He became no, wait, 1776, man. What are you talking about when he became? You mean, how old was he?
Yeah, so 1776, so we're talking 20, so he was 40 something. So he was a master mason at 20. So that means by that time he was already, who knows how high in the mason thing.
I think they think he was born in 1732, maybe.
Yeah,
OS.
so 1732 and 20 years, 1752, and then 1776 president.
1752, 62. So you're looking at, he's in his 40s. He's 44 when he becomes president. That's ridiculous. But then again, all of this stuff is straight, you already know this stuff is straight. And America is not a Christian country, because John Adams, the second president, had written overseas explaining that America was not a Christian country. John Adams' letter.
I mean, that by definition is a form of treason, because the Freemason thing has its own thing that you have to abide there. You're basically what do they call it? It's like trying to worship two gods. It's like if you're part of the Freemason thing and you're high in that order, you have to abide by what they say, and you cannot go outside of that. You cannot go worship something else or do something else or be whatever, unless that is the job they give you. So you look at his tombstone, it says Freemason and first president of the United States. So his allegiance was not towards the United States. His allegiance was to the Freemasons and the British.
The Treaty of Tripoli, right? So the Treaty of Tripoli, who had a sign off from the second president of the United States, John Adams. It says in the treaty, with a Muslim nation, included language affirming the U.S. government's secular nature in relation to foreign policy. So it's a crucial point for establishing public relations. And the phrase is disputed. Critics say it proves America isn't a Christian nation, while other people argue that it was a specific diplomatic statement, not a declaration, right, about the nation's religious character, and that the original Arabic text differs. But Adams' other views in other writings, Adams stated the founders' principles were rooted in Christianity, and that the Constitution is wholly inadequate to the government of any other than a moral and religious people, showing a complex view. So there's it's like a very widespread thing with that. And people will try to, again, take that and say, well, it was built as a Christian nation.
But you see the obvious. So if you are the source, let's say the owner, the monarch, you have no opposition. So if you were to go take over content and you were to create a new country, what would you do to make sure that country could never be above you? You would create two oppositions. You would create political parties. You'd create
Mhm.
exactly what you see now, this algorithm you see in the structure of the government, because there is no, and that's why there's a 4-year shift every time. So that nobody can stay up there like Putin in Russia for 30 years, or whatever. So when you look at that structure, you see that this country has no ownership of its own. It's being run by some other entity through a corporative type of structure, and that's why they say corporations now are now more powerful than most, obviously third world countries and stuff like that. So um, when you look at the structure and the power structure, that tells you what's going on. And you cannot be going by, again, you can't go by what anyone says, anyone claiming whatever. You got to go just look at it for what it is yourself, and just look at it, and it reveals itself very simply. Again, United Kingdom, United States. You see these words and terms. They use the same words, the same terms. You look at the Constitution, compare that with the Parliament and stuff in the UK. You compare all these things together. You look, oh, well, it's very similar. Interesting. And then you look at, after they've done with other countries, even India, you look at their stuff. You see it's very heavily uh, mixed in with all the British and that thing. And you look at any other supposed country in the world, they all have a very similar structure. They're all part of the IMF, Monetary Fund, all these banks and stuff. The only ones that are not, like North Korea and Pakistan, are the ones getting the brunt of the force. But it shows you, if you're in if you're in the club, then you're okay. But we're gonna have these chessboard little wars and skirmishes that happen internally to keep the people thinking a certain way, in my opinion. And we have Mega Mike actually giving us a donation. That's a good one here. Let's see, Mega Mike, appreciate the donation. Thank you very much. This will let me know if you are actually awakened or not. Tell me why Trump is the only president to be jailed for a day for speaking the truth. Jailed for a day. Well, JFK, like you said earlier, didn't get a chance to do that. And again, I seen Trump. Once I saw him WWE and Apprentice and all that stuff, it's like this guy. Just in my opinion, straight up, the perfect actor, the perfect person to, when you put a businessman like this, of this nature, into a political situation, I don't see anything. I don't see anything good coming from that, because it's going to be a very biased situation for monetary gain. And I don't see Trump being that type of guy. But again, he's being put into these 4-year term thing, back and forth, back and forth. So none of these things can ever go into fruition, because there's not enough time, first of all, for anyone to do anything in 4 years, to reform the entire United States in 4 years. Oh, I'm out. Now what? Now the next guy comes in and can do whatever he wants. That's not a stable system. So you're dealing with this constant system that's consistently changing every 4 years. Anyone can do whatever they want, and it's just back and forth, back and forth. So even if the guy, let's say Trump was genuine, let's say he was the best president ever in the universe, blah blah blah, all this stuff, he only has 4 to 8 years. Doesn't matter. So he does all this good and all this whatever. It doesn't matter. The next person comes in, gonna put it right back to where it was. And if that's speaking, assuming they let him do whatever he wants, and he is a genuine guy, which obviously that's not the case. So even if you had a person like that, you're still not going to get correction properly, because again, there's not enough time to reform something like that. And to do something like that would take many, many, 20, 30, 50 years to do it properly, to really reform the entire state and get people used to a completely different system. So I don't see any of that panning out. But MD, do you want to comment on this?
Yeah. Yeah, this will Mega Mike, thanks for the donation, man. He says this will tell me if you're actually awakened or not. See, the reason that Trump, what you're saying is, tell you why Trump is the only president to be jailed for a day. Because the only president that's been jailed for a day, because that's part of the script. The script, it's this whole thing is a script. They want that made people, the Trump zombies, get more like hyped about him. And I know this is gonna sound hard to believe. In my opinion, when that thing happened with the shooting, the attempted assassination of him, in my opinion, that didn't really look like a legitimate thing. They, I mean, it it looked orchestrated, man. I mean, the fact that, oh, this guy's here, how did he even get there to that close? There's so many questions that need to be asked that cannot be asked. So it's a script. The reason, and I'm letting you know, answering the question, tell you why Trump is the only president to be jailed for a day for speaking the truth. Now, what truth did he speak? You see, that's the other thing. He was jailed, the only president to be jailed for a day, because that's the script. That is the script that is told to be played to say, look, we're going to boost your popularity. When that attempted assassination happened, forget it. You had people wearing t-shirts, all type of stuff with that, straight Zombieville. So this is why he's the only president so far, because it's part of the script, man. Seriously. And you think, okay, yeah, you think he exposed the lies of the 2020 election, but it's all a script. The fact that they put Biden in, I mean, Jailhouse Max is right. Trump is controlled. He kissed the wall, just like the others. You know, and this is the thing. And of course I know all the politics to me is fixed. But when they showed this guy from New York City, when they were having the debates for the New York mayor, I'll tell you one thing, when they asked all of them where they would visit, he was the only one that had a different answer. So it really made me wonder. I also think that's part of the script, where people would say, oh, well, he said something different. Well, probably because they told him to, even though it sounded like, oh, he was you know, like rebelling or something. Nobody rebels. It's all orchestrated, basically. If you rebel when they don't want you to rebel, we already know what happens. We already know. You know, it just yeah, it's crazy, man. Why though? Good to see you, man. Scribe, this is for you, he said.
All right, let's see. You're you're in Panama, but what do you think the elites or powers that be, for lack of a better term, have planned for us here in America? It's getting bad out here. My rent is getting crazy, bro. Bro, man, I don't know, man. There is a reason why I got up, but seeing that what's going on now, I can't even really comment because it's just so nightmarish in my mind. I can't even. It's like, even if I, because I am partly Latino, so if I do, or let's say go back and visit my parents, my brother, or my sister, there's a possibility that ICE might come down and try to do something to me or whatever. So just that fact alone, that I can't. I mean, what, the Inquisition or so? What's going on here? So I'm just like, because I know you're also Latino too, so I can't. Yeah, it's and the whole the inflation stuff, that's inevitable. You already see that, and the tariff thing, all that stuff is and trying to do this all at the same time. It's like, it's just madness, man. I mean, it kind of goes to the prediction, that I was saying, where when this guy comes in, you're gonna see some stuff you never seen before, and I didn't assume it to be this, but it's over top. It's beyond what I thought he would be doing.
Yeah, and MAGA, you got a good point. I'm not saying that. Look, it's not that I'm not awake. I know what you're saying. How does this not wake you up? No, I'm aware. I'm aware to it. Biden's son, the stuff he did and never got in trouble. Exactly. It just shows you that's part of the whole the script when you think about it. And Trump, yeah, okay, he did do some things, right? Didn't he get convicted of many felonies? And he did. And think about it, he didn't do any time. So it really seems like a promo when you think about it. All these other guys, I mean, look at what Nixon did, and he didn't go to jail. That's crazy. And Nixon, what was it? A few tapes he leaked, right? The Watergate. And they say Hillary deleted thousands of emails. Nothing happened to her. So we started seeing the protection of politicians get much more intense. But did it get much more intense, or was it always corruption? I mean, look at the times of the World War I and World War II, the Harry S. Trumans. Those guys could do no wrong, basically. I mean, you had McCarthyism where they were just hunting down, uh, from what they say, just I mean, it was Gestapo type stuff. It was ridiculous, man. So yeah, it's not that, we're not saying that other Bush was horrible, horrible,
Again,
man.
I don't even want to even entertain this argument because it comes down to one thing: they're following orders. Okay,
Yeah,
MAGA,
yeah.
Mike,
He
that's it.
doesn't
They're
know. He
simply
doesn't
following
know.
orders.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you're buying into
yeah.
this whole circus show,
He thinks
and
other
that's what it
people.
is.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here arguing over this. It's like
No,
really, I
no,
mean, we're
yeah.
lowering
No, I
ourselves.
think he's
You
gonna
know,
wake up. I think MAGA Mike is gonna wake up. We're not listening. We're not Democrats, man. We're not political. That's the thing. We're looking at both sides of people have been duped into believing that the system is here to truly benefit them. The system will give you enough to survive, to keep you subservient. It's kind of like a Bronx Tale. He gives them just enough so they don't hate him, and not too much to where they don't need him. And this is what it is. They actually give it to a point. I mean, some of the stuff they've done is just ridiculous, man. Yeah, it's brutal, bro. Yeah, the system creates their own rebels, man. It reminds me of that saying, society creates the crime that the criminal commits. So, but it creating its own rebels, yeah, that's actually a better way of putting it. Society, yeah, the system does create that, man. Yeah, it's just a tough one, man. Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah.
It's really crazy.
I mean, I mean, when you really think about it, MDS, that's where all this Civil War stuff came out and all this other stuff. Did you ever see that happen in any monarchy ever? So the reason the Civil War was because the structure initially, when they brought in the Democrats, Republicans, it caused a civil war because it's not normal. You don't have a country doing civil war in itself. You don't have half the
Mhm.
people at the throat of the other half of people, and it's a continual day-to-day life. How are you supposed to live that way
Yeah,
when you have
it's
two opposing forces,
uh,
right? So this is where the Civil War came from. And I always thought about Civil War. How is that? How is war civil? I always thought about that. And I look at
mhm.
it, I was like, oh, Civil War. You mean we're both killing each other? Why? I went, oh, that's why we're doing it because we have two opposing forces, and this is where I got to choose one of these sides, right? I can't be wait. I don't want to mess with any of this. You got to choose one of these things, and it's again, it's like you're at at the football thing. You got to choose the 49ers or someone. You got to choose a team so you can
Mhm.
root for them, whatever, fight for them, and there's no difference, and it's just sad. It's like people can't even understand that little basic thing. For any country to be a unified country, you cannot have two different sides because
Mhm.
you're going to be constantly like we are now at war with each other.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Therefore, all the real stuff slips away because we're too busy about racism and whatever and this and that. It has nothing to do with us progression. Any progression, we're worried about dumb stuff that has nothing to
Yeah.
do with us surviving, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
We
it's
stay
true.
entertained, right? We
Well,
stay entertained in a
yeah.
daze.
And the thing is this is how I know MAGA Mike is still waking up. Like, hopefully he'll wake up. It is the fact that if we don't agree with the Trump propaganda, then automatically we're Democrats, and everybody knows we're not Democrats. So Mike should really think about that, to say, okay, you see how quick when somebody disagrees with the Trump thing, you automatically think they're a Democrat. That's part of the zombie. That's part of the political zombie problem. We're not that, So yeah, the damage that he's done, you can't trust politicians. I mean, that right there shows me, it's like, bro, are you even thinking? It's like, you really think this guy, can you call him up? Can you talk with him? It's basically the only thing they want to speak with you about is to see if you're still worshiping them, basically, you know? And if anything they say that sounds good, it's part of the script, because we know that they will recant on the next minute. We see that. But yeah, man, it's getting late, man. It's almost 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. Everybody in the chat, man, thank you so much. Thank you for the support. We'll be here again tonight for the new show. Talk to you guys soon. Have a great night.
All right, take care, y'all.